cocaine. Chicago man accused of gunning down two teen boys last year on the city's south side. Adrian Sanchez is charged with 2 counts of murder. Police say the 25-year-old defendant shot and killed 15-year-old Miguel Meza, 17-year-old Carlos Galindo. On August 3rd, Sanchez was arrested last Thursday, just 2 blocks from the scene of the crime. Closing arguments could finally come to an end soon as today in the Michael Madigan corruption trial. Here's AM 560's Jim Telemonte with a recap from the Dirksen Federal Building.
On Monday, defense attorney Dan Collins called the government's indictment against Madigan a, quote, worthless piece of paper. The prosecutors say ComEd gave no-show jobs to Madigan allies in exchange for legislation that benefited the utility. Chicago's Southside Republican Chairman Devin Jones said the corruption in the system abuses the middle class and poor people.
Like you said, you can't look at your ComEd bill the same way. We're forced to continue to pay that bill. Otherwise, you don't have electricity.
Jones said Madigan's influence is still present in Springfield.
Many of these people that are in the state legislature are either Madigan's chosen successors, or they have been there.
Closing arguments from co-defendant Michael McLean's team are scheduled Tuesday. In Chicago, I'm Jim Talamonte.
Wisconsin lawmakers are looking into legislation that would make tips exempt from state income taxes. The draft bill has been passed around Madison, could be formally introduced next month. Chicago's Looking Glass Theater Company is ready to reopen its doors for the first time in nearly 2 years. Ceremonial ribbon cutting with Governor J.B. Pritzker and actor David Schwimmer was held Monday, 18 months after Looking Glass shut down.
This is Chicago, the city of big shoulders. And its strength, resilience, and work ethic inspires us. We decided to regroup, rebuild, and today reopen.
The theater paused operations a year and a half ago because ticket sales and donations did not bounce back after the COVID-19 pandemic. Schwimmer is a founding member of that company more than 35 years ago. The Bulls avoid a third consecutive loss with a 129-121 bounce-back win over the Nuggets at the UC. Zach LaVine leading the way with 21. NBA Slam Dunk Contest field is set. 2-time defending champ Mac McClung headlines a 4-man field that now includes Chicago Bulls rookie and Hinsdale native Matisse Buzelis. Blackhawks try to snap their 3-game losing skid when they visit Tampa Bay tonight. Fighting Illini dropped 3 spots in yesterday's coaches' basketball poll 17-20, as expected. The news is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP, you could save 90% on average to get your smile back. Learn more. Check if you qualify. AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, I'm 80 years old, I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It's a new year, but the need continues. Hi, Amy Jacobson here to let you know that you could still be part of our annual Food for the Poor campaign. We are working to provide food for a year and access to water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we need you to help us reach our goal. We are so close, especially if you own or run a business or make the marketing decisions for a business. You can still become a business benefactor by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. That gift will feed 50 children for all of 2025. And to show our appreciation for your generosity, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on the station between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this amazing deal, just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, 847-472-8951 or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
5:11, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this look at the roads is a service of Audible. Take along Audible, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals, and tap into your well-being. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com. I-55, look out in Will County, accident. 2 left lanes are blocked southbound just after the Veterans Memorial Toll Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. The latest with AccuWeather Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, increasingly windy today. The high at 44. Partly cloudy, breezy for tonight, low 33. Morning flurries tomorrow. Partly sunny, breezy day, high 43. Clouds on Thursday with a high at 49. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clear and 31 at O'Hare, 33 Midway, 23 in Aurora, 27 Morris, 34 along the lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answers starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
There is a place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher inviting you to join me on the Patriots Alaska Cruise this summer, along with Larry Elder, Joe Piscopo, Jennifer Horn. Enjoy Alaska's breathtaking beauty like never before. Text the keyword travel to 94878 to reserve your stateroom today. This luxury trip is your chance to experience majestic scenery, patriotism, adventure. We sail August 16th through the 23rd. Reserve your stateroom today. Text travel to 94878. That's travel to 94878.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire?
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence.
Learn principles of income planning.
There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring.
Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560, The Answer.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine. to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boilers to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to AppliedMechanicalSales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's AppliedMechanicalSales.com.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, important week of confirmation hearings for the Trump administration, for Trump 47, because you have the two other nominees to high-profile positions that are being targeted for defeat by the Democrat Socialists. That would be Tulsi Gabbard for DNI and RFK Jr. for HHS. This comes after, of course, Pete Hegseth gets through on Friday with J.D. Vance having to come in and cast the tie-breaking vote thanks to the defections of Murkowski, Collins, and our old buddy Freeze Frame, Mitch McConnell.
Freeze Frame.
And, so there, could be some close calls here with these two. It's unclear to me, although I think both get through Tulsi Gabbard is especially targeted, I think, because, they want, meaning Trump and company, a deep dive into the intelligence community and accounting for the bad acts and the bad actors who committed the bad acts over the last 8 years to start. And that's probably a lifetime's of work alone. So Tulsi Gabbard potentially going to face some challenges. This came up over the weekend, the Face the Nation sit down that J.D. Vance did with Margaret. We've got a lot to get through, Senator Brennan. And here's what Vance had to say about their D&I nominee.
Both the Wall Street Journal and the National Review, conservative publications, as you know, have been critical of Tulsi Gabbard. The Review called her an atrocious nominee who deserves to be defeated. They compared her defense of Edward Snowden, the fugitive who stole U.S. secrets, to an attorney general who thinks the mob gets a bad rap. Her refusal to accept U.S. intelligence findings that Assad gassed his own people, they said, was like a nominee for OMB director not being able to count. Does any of this give you pause putting her in charge of the U.S. intelligence community? Yes or no?
No, Margaret, look, these are publications that attacked Donald J. Trump obsessively, but those publications don't determine who the president is, the American people do.
Him.
And Donald J. Trump is the person who determines who his cabinet is, not these publications that I think, frankly, have lost relevance.
The Senate will
Tulsi
ultimately
Gabbard's,
decide.
Well, the Senate will provide advice and consent, as is its constitutional obligation, but I feel confident that Tulsi Gabbard will ultimately get through. Two things that are important to know about Tulsi. First of all, she is a career military servant who's had a classification at the highest levels for nearly 2 decades. She has impeccable character, impeccable record of service, and she also is a person who I think is going to bring some trust back to the intelligence services. The bureaucrats at our intelligence services have gotten completely out of control. They've been part of the weaponization of our political system, the weaponization of our justice system. We need to have good intelligence services who keep us safe, but part of that is restoring trust in those services, and we think Tulsi's the right person to do it. That's
she
why
doesn't
the
trust
president,
those intelligence services.
She recognizes that the bureaucrats have gotten out of control, and we need somebody there who's going to rein them in and return those services to their core mission of identifying information that's going to keep us.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer and text line. Any qualms? I know we've visited this before on the occasion of the nominations of Gabbard and RFK Jr., both Democrat socialists, to these important posts. But now we're at the cusp of confirmation. Any qualms about either one? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Who's going to have a harder time getting confirmed, RFK Jr. or Tulsi Gabbard? Because they're going to go after him for, he's anti-vax, and he's not anti-vax. He just wants to take a deeper look into the vaccinations that they're shoving down our throats.
I think that's a evolved position of RFK Jr. I think previously he was pretty anti-vax. And that there's been some movement there because he recognizes the political vulnerability that some of his previous positions and previous statements about those positions create. On Gabbard, this is an interesting one, too, because this is one of these cases where Trump has nominated the hunted to be the hunter. Don't forget, Tulsi Gabbard was, for some reason, targeted as part of the Open Skies program, where federal marshals were trailing her around when she traveled, in America, domestically, or I don't know, maybe internationally too. It's unclear to me, but you heard it there from Vance talking about the bureaucracy and about what we've heard before. James O'Keefe did an interview with a CIA. I don't know if it was an officer, but just call it CIA agent. This is a while back, where he, on one of these undercover guerrilla reporting operations where these guys, Match.com with one of James O'Keefe's undercover reporters, and then they go out to eat and they have a little bit to drink and they start running their mouths. And when he was running his mouth, he talked about the CIA withholding information from President Trump in Trump 1.0, during Trump 1.0, that were part of their intelligence estimates, because they didn't trust him, because they didn't want him to make a decision that they didn't support and so forth. So, you have all of these one-off examples. We just had another one over the weekend. We talked about it a bit yesterday when John Radcliffe, now the CIA director, came forward and said, yeah, there is this report that was done internally at the CIA that should have been released to the public that concluded that it was more likely than not that the COVID virus leaked from the Wuhan lab. This was done during the Biden administration. It should have been, by law, made public. It wasn't made public. It's public now. So there's all these cases where you say, like in so many of these agencies, like Department of Justice, like FBI, well, now we're talking about the intelligence community, where there have been people who decide that they are the ones who will decide policy, not the President of the United States, not the executive branch. And to the extent they want to manipulate policy decisions, they'll withhold information, sometimes in violation of the law, and engage in all sorts of other nefarious conduct. It's not just John Brennan bloviating on MSNBC. So, I think you have to, my view on this is, obviously, I'm always skeptical of Democrat socialists. And I wildly disagree with a lot of the positions that Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. have taken in the past. But if you narrow, but by the same token, they were important coalition partners for Trump, and that's something to recognize. They have a trust relationship. Trump has a trust relationship with them, and the President of the United States, as long as they pass a certain threshold of qualification, you defer to the President of the United States in executive power to put together his cabinet. And as long as they are narrow cast to do specific things like, RFK Jr., a reckoning with the public health establishment in conjunction with Makari at FDA and Bhattacharya at NIH. And as long as Tulsi Gabbard works with friendlies in the intel community, like John Radcliffe at CIA, like Kash Patel at FBI, and focuses on reorienting these agencies to operate within the scope of their stated missions and do so in compliance with the law, rooting out some of the partisan politics that has taken hold, and by partisan, I mean leftist, then maybe these are two people that are ideally suited for these positions because of where they come from politically.
And don't forget, she served this country honorably. She joined the Army National Guard after 9/11 when she was 22 years old. She served in multiple combat war zones in the Middle East and in Africa, and a combat medic in Iraq. So she's trustworthy, and I trust Trump because he believes in her, and we voted for him.
Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee, agrees.
They want to slow the process. They want to say Obama and Biden got their nominees first and faster than these Trump nominees. And they are doing this because they do not like President Donald Trump. You look at what they're trying to do to Tulsi Gabbard, which is disgusting. They are trying to say she's a Russian asset. She isn't. She has been through 5 background checks. She is a reservist. She's in the military. They do not see her as a Russian asset.
Well, that's another thing that Tulsi Gabbard's been subjected to, like Trump, because I disagree with your policy or your approach to policy making. I'm going to accuse you of being a traitor. This started with Hillary Clinton in 2016 when Gabbard ran for president. And so that's another feather in her cap as far as I'm concerned, too.
That's right. They suggested she was a Russian agent.
Phil Wegman, RealClearPolitics.com's man at the White House, had this to say about what Dems are trying to do, will attempt to do this week during the confirmation hearings and subsequent, sort of what they did in folding McConnell into their group with respect to Hegseth.
With Democrats and Tulsi Gabbard, I think that they're trying to appeal to that old guard of, sort of neoconservative national security Republicans, but that's an increasingly rare breed on Capitol Hill. And some of these attacks and allegations against Tulsi Gabbard, like Senator Blackburn just laid out, allegations that she's somehow a Russian spy. Well, that dog didn't hunt, previously when Republicans were more than happy to welcome her into the fold. And we'll see if it, is something that frightens away more than 3 Republicans this week.
I doubt it. Brian in Wheatfield, Indiana. Hey, Brian.
Brian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You now.
Okay. Good morning, guys. I was just going to say, Dan, I like the part about stay in your lane with the cabinet picks, but anybody the Democrats and the media is against, I'm for. And we just put up with 4 years of the worst cabinet picks. I think we'll be okay giving these guys a little bit of a try.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. And you know, again, consider, too, the Republicans that voted against Hegseth and that the Dems are trying to get to vote against Gabbard and RFK Jr. and their votes for confirmation of Ali Mayorkas and Ketanji Brown Jackson and so many of these other obnoxious, incompetent, disgraceful cabinet secretaries of the Biden administration, because, you know, Republicans more than certainly Democrats play by the sort of default position. If they meet the minimum level of qualification, then you defer to the president with his executive picks. Of course, that standard doesn't apply by them to Trump, and this is where we're at. Coming up at 5:38, we'll stay on the federal workforce. We'll go below the secretary level, though. A lot of hue and cry from our dedicated public servants about having to return to the office. That's 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
30 degrees at 5:31. Just moments ago, Serbia's populist Prime Minister Milos Vučević said he's stepping down following weeks of massive anti-corruption protests in Europe. That tied to the deadly collapse of a concrete canopy back in November that killed 15. Federal judge is vacating an order that banned some J6 defendants from Washington, D.C. Last week, the judge barred the January 6 defendants who had their sentences commuted by the president from visiting the Capitol or D.C. without first receiving permission from the court. The judge declined to remove them, but acknowledged the issue will not be enforced. The Senate voted to confirm hedge fund manager Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary on Monday.
The yeas are 68, the nays are 29. The confirmation is confirmed.
And President Trump has signed a number of executive orders that ban any diversity-related programs in the military. Our reporter Mark Mayfield fills us in.
As a result of Monday's move, any new diversity-related practices will be subject to an internal review by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Trump signed 2 other orders, including one that reinstates those who were discharged for refusing the COVID vaccine, and one that bans those who identify as transgender from serving in the armed forces. A 4th calls for the creation of a so-called next-generation Iron Dome missile defense system to protect the U.S. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Minneapolis City Council members will ask residents to boycott Target in the wake of the retailer's DEI rollback, just days after President Donald Trump announced his diversity, equity, and inclusion goals through executive orders. Minneapolis is home to Target. Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress during a hearing about sanctuary cities. That hearing will come up next month, February 11. Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting near a supermarket in northwest Indiana in Elkhart.
2 individuals were pronounced deceased inside. We have a suspect that was believed to be the suspect in this incident. He is also deceased.
Elkhart Police spokesman Jessica McBriar. Whether illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms is a question that is now up for the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. The case, USA versus Heriberto Carbajal Flores, centers around Flores' arrest here in Chicago for having a firearm. Representing the federal government, Margaret Steindorf said Flores' immigration status is critical to the case.
There is the common thread here of felons not abiding by the law and those unlawfully in the country, also, not authorized to be in the country.
Representing Flores, Jacob Briskman said rights granted to the people aren't relegated to only a few amendments, he believes, in the Bill of Rights.
The Supreme Court has decided that undocumented folks have First Amendment protections, Fourth Amendment protections, Fifth Amendment protections when they have come within the United States and developed substantial ties.
Briskman saying his client has U.S. citizen children and a U.S. citizen wife. Illinois State Senator Dan McConnachie is stepping down. The Republican lawmaker announcing that his last day in office will be February 2. McConnachie has also served in the Illinois legislature since 2016, 2 years as the Senate GOP leader from 2021 to 2023. The Bulls earn a victory over the Nuggets, 129-121. The Blackhawks visit Tampa Bay later on tonight. College hoops action tonight. Northern Illinois will host Akron. Valparaiso will host Southern Illinois. The news service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Save 35% off your first preferred order with promo code Chicago. Hurry, offer ends soon. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and healthcare, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
5:39. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. This look at the roads, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% on average. See if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Making smiles great again. Northbound 55, you're slowing up due to gapers to a southbound crash. You're on the brakes, Route 53, to right before the Veterans Memorial Toll Road. That accident is on the southbound side between the toll road to right before Route 53. 2 left lanes are blocked on southbound 55 this morning. DuSable Lakeshore Drive accident. 2 left lanes blocked northbound between the Buckingham Fountain and Monroe. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, increasingly windy, and a high of 44 today. Partly cloudy, breezy, low 33 overnight. Currently clear and 30. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by TJ Stearns Financial Planning. Certified financial planner Tim Stearns holds a weekly discussion of the financial challenges to secure retirement. Listen Saturday at noon for Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The federal workforce, and as you know, everyone in government at any level is a dedicated public servant, selflessly sacrificing for the common good. Now, we've had, since Trump's election, this interregnum between his election and taking office, a lot of back and forth about the federal workforce and the percentage of federal workers who actually ever show up to the office. There's been a lot of competing numbers thrown around. Whatever the numbers are, they seem to be substantial if you just measure by the reaction coming from said federal workforce to the Trump order that federal workers return to their offices 5 days a week, like full work week, otherwise face termination. And let me give you an example of that hue and cry. This is someone who works in the federal court system. Her name is Genesis Cuesta, and this is what she posted to social media.
Well, it happens. What a way to end the week. 5 o'clock on a Friday, got our notice, effective March 10th. We're back in the office 5 days a week. No telework. And that's the most up thing, is not only did you issue this executive order, Cheeto, but the executive order trumps, unintended, and rescinds any previously agreed upon telework agreements. So before, I was able to telework once a week when I was in the office every day. Now, not no mores.
Not no mores.
I am so upset. I am so mad. And honestly, I also feel for the parents. They're going to need to figure out childcare. They're going to have to commute. So many people don't live in DC and have to drive so far every single day. Like, this sucks. This sucks. And the crazy thing is, we've only just begun. We're just getting started on all of this.
It's a sad story. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. This put upon federal workforce having to return to work, make some use of all of this office space that the federal government, meaning we, own or rent, one of the two. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's over. Even NBC admitted COVID is not a thing anymore because the variants that are out there are so weak that we should be worrying about the flu. We should go back to old times. We should go to work 5 days a week. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us there. But we all know people who don't want to go, whether they're family members or our friends' children who are like, I can't go back to work 5 days a week. Are you kidding me? Well, we did it, and you can do it too. And we had children, and we had obligations, and we had families, and we had sporting events, but we made it work. And you can do that too.
Well, there's also the issue of how much, very much like we had during COVID, about how much remote education is actually happening with remote education, how much education is really happening, how much work is really being done by federal employees who are working remotely. Well, in response to some of the whining from people like that Ms. Cuesta you heard, another former federal government employee, this is a former one.
Awesome.
Who used to work at the Army Corps of Engineers, took to social media and offered this rebuttal.
When I worked for the government, we were allowed to work 50% in the office and 50% from home, for the most part. In some cases, if you'd worked there, like I think over 10 years or something, you could actually work from home 3 days a week and work from the office 2 days a week. I use the word work very loosely. One employee spent his time remote working, running his own farm. Another employee bragged about drunk driving and going out to lunch with her friends for margaritas when she was supposed to be remote working. No one would log into their computers, and you can see it because they're not on Teams, and no one ever checked. Ever. There's something called the 80-20 rule where 80% of the work in government is done by 20% of the people, and this is very, very true. People who get a job in the government a lot of times find out that it's very difficult to fire them, and they take advantage of this. One employee would come into the office, his start time would be 6:30, and he knew nobody would be there, and when I came in at 7:30 and I was the next person to come in, he was snoring at his desk every single morning. Another employee would take the government truck on an almost daily basis so that he could go out to lunch and then go and take a nap in his favorite park under a shady tree in the government truck. One of the very first things I did when I started working for the Corps, I spent 3 months cleaning up their real estate files room, which was a disaster. The government is using an antiquated system that was developed sometime in the 90s and using regulations that haven't been updated since the 90s to manage our dams and our government lands. Our government is filled with the most incompetent and most lazy people and an occasional hard worker. And those hard workers are severely punished every time they outwork their colleagues, because then the colleagues realize people will see that they're lazy and they don't want to have to work more. They're just buying time until they retire.
312-642-5600. To be specific, President Trump, in his first batch of executive orders, froze hiring for 90 days across most departments, barring same departments from hiring contractors instead, ordered each agency to submit a plan to cut its own staff, called employees back to the office for 5 days a week, and essentially daring people like that Ms. Cuesta to quit, because you got a headcount, federal workforce headcount of 2.4 million, which is a 7% increase just in the last 2 years, 2.4 million. And that needs to be pared down substantially, as we've talked about quite a bit, particularly in the context of DOGE. There is no making this unwieldy Leviathan efficient. You have to reduce the size and scope and expense of it, and that necessarily includes a massive reduction in headcount if you want to, quote unquote, drain the swamp. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Real quick, I mean, Army Corps of Engineers, they're responsible for building and maintaining the nation's infrastructure. I mean, this is not a cush job where you can sleep at your desk or just take the company truck out to go to lunch every day.
Apparently you can.
Well, I know, but and then also, too, this March 10th thing, send them back now. You next Monday, go back 5 days a week. Why are they waiting until March 10th?
Paul and Carrie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, guys. I don't think it goes far enough. I think there should be job audits within the government for comparative salaries of those of us in the private sector. I mean, why stop there? I mean, I don't think the government should be dictating salaries, but I can remember not too long ago, I'm old enough to remember, years ago, that when you needed a job, you would, and you couldn't find one, reluctantly you would go to the government. I'll just go down to the local, civic center or whatever town you live in, and you could grab that job that's left over. Now they're coveted. It's ridiculous, and they're paid probably 30-50% more than those of us in the private sector?
Well, certainly when you include the benefits, they
pension.
are. No question. Thanks for the call,
Have
Paul.
a cushy pension just for going to work and sleeping at your desk.
Your favorite government worker story, if you have them.
Yes.
I have some. Of course, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Love to hear favorite government worker stories. Ed, Northside.
Yeah, I was going to say, the problem with government is all of it, local, state, and federal. Government employees, don't want to do any work. That's really what it is. They hide behind the phones, with their tape recordings, telling you to push buttons. If you do happen to get one, they're probably going to give you the wrong information. You'll never be able to talk to the same person twice. And the very first thing they should do is take all these tapes and burn them. Put them in a bonfire and burn them to a crisp so we get to talk to a human being.
All right. Thanks for the call, Ed. Tony, Southside.
Good morning, Amy, Lamb, and Dan. So that lady who was whining about going back to work, she had to tell, right? She said, well, then we're going to have to find child care. Well, who the hell's watching her children when she's at home? She is. She's not doing work. Come on. That's crazy.
Thanks for the call,
This shows
Tony.
a lack and waste of government. On full display here.
Larry Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, since this pandemic started, I work for the largest healthcare in this state. I think you know what it is, but they've been working from home. We haven't been compensated one bit, and they have to come in here once a month for whatever reason. But they bitch about that.
I mean, once a month.
Wait. Who's you're working every day at this health
workers?
Oh, the office.
They're all working from home, but they don't have to wash clothes. They don't have to put gas in their car.
No, or pay tolls.
They can cancel their car insurance for as long as they've been off if they don't need the car. But can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Come in and say happy birthday to Dorothy at 7-Eleven this weekend. The second is her birthday in February.
7-Eleven where? Which 7-Eleven?
105th and Cicero, Oak Lawn.
All right. Happy birthday, Dorothy, at 105th and Cicero. All right. The 7-Eleven there. Thanks for the call, Larry. Ron, Southside.
I've been wanting to share this story with you all. In December, with my family, we were going out of town, Southern California. So we decided for the first time to go to the post office and leave one of these things that said, "Do not deliver the mail." Okay?
Right.
We go out of town, and so my wife was looking at the thing that that you can see the.
You mean the Ring camera?
House. There you go. Thank you, Amy. My wife said, "The post lady is at the door." So she said, "Ron, didn't you fill out the car?" I said, "Yes." Okay, guys. I get home, get the mail. The card that I filled out was in the mail.
They delivered it back to you.
You dropped this.
This is amazing. So I called the post office.
Oh, boy.
And that's what the manager said. He said, "Well, Chandler, you filled it out." Make a long story short, I called Congressman Johnson Jackson's office locally and in Washington, D.C., and I said, "I want an official apology, a letter." And I did get it, but it was. But let me just say this.
But it came 4 weeks late. Yeah, right. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, but this was the strange thing. When I went to the post office and told them, this lady told me, "Oh, no." She said, "Mr. Chandler, your mail got delivered." I said, "Mail? It wasn't supposed to get delivered. That is the problem."
Ron, Ron, wait a second. You complain when they don't deliver it. You complain when they do deliver it. I mean, the post office just can't win here. Thanks for the call, Ron. Appreciate it. Kathy in River Forest.
Hi. I worked for the state of Illinois in the late 80s and a summer job, and I was making a ton of money. And my parents wanted me to go to college. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to college. My job was copying all the inheritance files, because at that time Illinois they were getting rid of the inheritance tax. Anyway, making so much money, thought it was great. I'm like, I can have a good life without college. Long story short, I would get punished by my coworkers because I had to be competitive. How many sheets could I copy? How fast? And they're like, no, you can't do that. You're going to get us in trouble. We only do 80 sheets per minute. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I can do 1,000. Like, no, you can't do that. So I went, well, I think I'll be bored the rest of my life, so I end up going to college.
Thanks for the well, and you were making a ton of money just making photocopies.
That's all I did. Sit down 8 hours a day.
Boy, you would be sitting on a $10 million net present value pension right now if you would have just stuck to making copies, Kathy. Boy, you missed it.
We could have been rolling in the dough, girlfriend.
Dan in Salem, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dan and Amy. I went into Kenosha to the Social Security office because I'm going to be hitting 62 in March, and I figured I'd apply early, you know what I mean, get the ball rolling. I went there. There's a guy standing at the door. He goes, you got an appointment at the Social Security office in Kenosha? I go, no. He goes, well, you got to have an appointment. I'm like, well, it doesn't say that online. I just came down here in person. I figured I'd do it all in person, face-to-face. They go, okay, well, go in there and make an appointment. So I went in there and I made an appointment. So now I got a phone interview February 13th with the Social Security office. You can't even talk to a real person anymore at the Social Security office. And the reason why I'm collecting 62 Social Security early is because my tree service is dead because of all these illegal aliens taking over the tree service business too now. And, another thing, Dan and Amy, isn't there a legal term, implied consent? So if you come into this country illegally, don't be crying if they send you back.
Thanks for the call, Dan. No, I agree. Dan in Will County, the other Dan.
Yeah, in the mid-'80s, I worked for the VA District Council. And pretty much every year, the boss around the end of September would say, here's 20, here's 25,000, go buy a copier. Well, we don't need a copier. Yeah, but if we don't spend this money, we ain't going to get it next year. Well, you know how that goes, Dan. Mm-hmm. Have a good day.
Thanks
Dan,
call.
I wanted you to tell your government story.
I mean, there's so many, because I worked for the state of Illinois for a short time, and I worked in municipal government. I guess the municipal government story, in a particular village in which I worked.
Can I say it? No.
Well, there's a few. I've worked for a few, actually, so you don't necessarily know. But anyway, there was a belief that somebody in the water department was not on the job when he should have been on the job when he was being paid to be on the job.
Yeah.
And the word was that he would cut out like early for lunch and then never show up. And so one day the mayor's driving around and he knows about this story. Uh-huh. And he sees the water department truck sitting under a tree, and he sees the water department employee with his head back, like in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
He's obviously sleeping. So he pulls up next to him, and he sees a sandwich in his right hand, his pants undone, and his manhood in his left hand, and he's asleep. So, I mean, and my reaction when I was told this story is, well, I mean, that's an efficient employee on his lunch break. He is feeding himself, he's pleasuring himself, and he's getting a nap in.
Hey, seriously?
But the problem was he wouldn't come back to work after that. That was the rub.
Wow,
pun intended. All right, coming up at 6:06, Tom Homan tells of his exploits in Chicago this weekend, 6:06.
Today, partly sunny, windy, but warmer, a high of 44 degrees. We'll hit 50 by Thursday. It is now 6 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
The immigration raids continue nationwide.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're targeting the worst first, right? That's who we're getting. We're focusing on those targets. We're not targeting people in schools. We're not targeting people in churches.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office Director Sam Olson in Chicago tells Fox they're targeting illegal immigrants who are criminal or public safety threats. And Fox's Brooke Singman reports.
On Monday, ICE made nearly 1,200 arrests and lodged another 853 ICE detainers. And in Denver yesterday, DEA agents finding and removing 134,000 fentanyl pills off the streets, while also arresting 2 illegal immigrants with suspected cartel ties.
President Trump wants changes in the military.
An executive order calling on the Pentagon to examine the issue of transgender troops in the military, which could lead to an eventual ban.
That's Fox's Jennifer Griffin. Another order would eliminate military diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Yet another gives service members kicked out for not getting a COVID vaccine restored rank and full back pay and benefits, and President Trump ordered an Iron Dome missile defense system like Israel has. The White House Budget Office has put out a memo that the Wall Street Journal reports is leading to confusion. It's ordering a freeze on federal financial assistance programs that might be affected by Trump executive orders, though Medicare and Social Security are exempt. At the Justice Department, fallout from Special Counsel Jack Smith's Trump investigations that led to 2 federal indictments since dropped. More than a dozen people who worked with Smith have been fired. Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox Business.
What did the Justice Department expect? They were weaponized. They were specifically, dealing out justice for thee, but not for me.
The U.S. is getting a new Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, confirmed by the Senate.
Scott's going to do a great job. He's going to bring some South Carolina common sense to everything here.
Republican Senator Roger Marshall. There is a confirmation vote planned today for Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary nominee. America's listening to Fox News.
30 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress during a hearing over sanctuary cities. Other sanctuary city mayors have been called to testify. It will be part of a House Oversight and Government Reform Committee hearing February 11. Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting near a supermarket in northwest Indiana in the town of Elkhart.
2 individuals were pronounced deceased inside. We have a suspect that was believed to be the suspect in this incident. He is also deceased.
Elkhart Police spokesperson Jessica McBriar, an Indiana man recently pardoned by President Trump, is dead after a deputy-involved shooting in Jasper County, Indiana. 42-year-old Matthew Huddle of Hobart was recently pardoned for his role in the J6 U.S. Capitol rioting. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot unveiling her findings of an investigation into the spending of embattled Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
There was a concerted, systematic effort on behalf of Mayor Henyard and others in her administration to hide the true financial condition of the village of Dalton from the trustees and from members of the public.
The village hired Lightfoot last April to conduct an independent investigation. A Chicago man is accused of gunning down 2 teen boys last year on the south side. Adrian Sanchez is charged with 2 counts of murder. The 25-year-old defendant, according to police, shot and killed 15-year-old Miguel Meza and 17-year-old Carlos Galindo last August 3rd. The level of available workspace in downtown Chicago is now at a record high after the year end, with the market posting its second worst in history. Real estate firm CBRE reports the share of available office space in Chicago rose over the last 90 days downtown to just over 26%, prompting WirePoint's president Ted Dabrowski to worry things may get a lot worse before they get better.
The Chicago Transit Authority and their big deficits and their struggles as well, both crime and timeliness and things like that. So you've got that continued pressure of all those things coming together to make the doom loop still a possibility.
Data shows downtown office users collectively vacated 1.6 million square feet, more than they occupied last year. Chicago sports. Bulls beat the Nuggets 129-121. Blackhawks will try to snap their 3-game losing streak when they visit Tampa Bay later on tonight. College hoops, Fighting Illini dropped 3 spots. That was expected in yesterday's coaches poll. The news, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over if you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP. You could save 90% off on average. To get that smile back, AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Time's running out. Citigroup predicts gold hitting $3,000 by 2025. Every day you wait could cost you. Noble Gold Investments is your path to the future, your guide to what's coming. Don't wait for $3,000 gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and get 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins with a qualified account. Just use promo code SILVER. Get ready for tomorrow's gains today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risk. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making any investment decision.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. While on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In that instant, his life changed forever. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with other catastrophic injuries. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Jeff Tischlar, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, has shared his knowledge of the spectacular things that we see in nature, as opposed to what man has created, and how this should inform one's faith. Jeff served on the mission field all over the world and has created this highly illustrated and concisely written technical book. The easy-to-read format is understood from the youngest reader to the most intelligent and mature readers. Google and Amazon book reviews include, "This is the best little book I have ever read. It is amazing how much information is in this book." And a beautifully written and illustrated book. The author has a gift for describing complicated technical details in a very understandable style. This book is available now in paperback on Amazon. Search High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischlar. 100% of proceeds go to missions. That's High Tech vs. the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischlar.
.608 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars, silver dollars, coins, rare date, proof, and mint sets. FoxValleyCoins.com. Stevenson outbound, a crash right before Route 53. Your delay from Lamont Road all the way through the Veterans Memorial Toll. That's solid traffic right now. And DuSable Lakeshore Drive, right now, beginning to ramp up between Bryn Mawr and Hollywood. I-80 accident, left lane blocked, eastbound, right at the Des Plaines River Bridge, and late pickup of overnight road work, causing big delays eastbound between Chicago and Richards. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, increasingly windy. High today, 44. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight, low 33. Flurries tomorrow morning, then partly sunny with a high 43. Clouds on Thursday, the high at 49. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 28 degrees. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The left never tires of its ready, fire, aim, performative outrage, does it? So we had another couple of examples over the weekend, high-profile examples, including in Chicago, where you had John Cryer impersonator and CPS superintendent. I mean, what is with this guy, Pedro Martinez? He's pulling a Costanza. He's been fired, and he continues to show up for work.
I know.
Anyway, he went on MSNBC to express his outrage over ICE officers allegedly entering an elementary school and scaring the kids.
We had individuals that came to one of our schools, Hamline Elementary School, that presented credentials and shared that they were from ICE. And so our staff followed the protocols. We're very clear. We've been training our principals, our security guards, any front office staff to making sure that they know that we are not to share any information with anybody from the Immigration Department or ICE.
Mm-hmm. And then Jelly B, the governor, chimed in on social media.
After a week of Republicans sowing fear and chaos, the first reports of raids in Chicago are at an elementary school. Targeting children and separating families is cruel and un-American.
That's what Pritzker posted. Tom Homan responding to Pedro and Jelly B.
Well, Pedro Martinez lied. He lied to the city of Chicago because he knew it was Secret Service agents, because I talked to the people involved. They left their credentials. He knew exactly who were there, so he lied. Again, sowing fear in the immigrant community. And Governor Pritzker, rather than calling ICE and asking us, did this happen or did it not happen, he goes on social media and terrifies the elementary schools that ICE agents are walking in there. No, he accuses me of terrifying the community. No, he terrified the community. He terrified the children. You know what ICE did yesterday? They saved children. We arrested 9 sexual predators, many of them child sex predators. We saved children. ICE saved children. We're not going to schools and scaring the hell out of them. Governor Pritzker deserves, he needs to give ICE an apology. What he did was just plain wrong, and by doing that, he put fear in the community that shouldn't have to be there.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could text us to. What Pritzker could do, he could start by deleting that tweet. That was a lie after a week of sowing fear and chaos. He's the one who's sowing fear and chaos.
Yeah. Maybe one of your intrepid reporter friends will ask him if he agrees with Tom Homan that he owes ICE an apology. We'll wait with bated breath for that. But just on the and it's up to Illinois to pay attention to this and to pay attention to the behavior of one Jelly B and why he is engaged in the performative outrage that he is engaged in. Could it be any more cynical?
And Pedro Martinez, he's just trying to be loved, Dan. Just let me. I'm on your team. I please see me. I need another job soon. I'm a Democrat. Help me. I'm drowning. And don't think these people are sick. Remember when they told those 2 fourth-grade girls that their moms died because they went to school and brought home COVID and killed them? And then I waited and called the ME every flippin' day or every other day. One died because she drank herself to death and passed out at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday in the middle of the street. And the other one died because she had comorbidities. She didn't die because of COVID. She died with COVID. So don't think that these people will go to any extremes to lie to you and to mislead you. They know damn well that it was Secret Service, but they're like, oh, well, we'll just say it's ICE. Oh, it's ICE. And then they start the lie, and then they don't even know when they're lying or telling the truth anymore.
Well, again, just to restate the case for any slow-learning leftists who may be tuning in, and so that you can share with the slow-learning leftists in your life, it's been very clear from the beginning that there is rank order priority to this, that it is worst first, and the worst are people in this country who pose a public safety threat. So that would not be elementary school children. No. And that was the focus of the operations in Chicago this weekend, as in every other part of the country, as Tom Homan explained.
I went to Chicago a couple times, met with black pastors, met with the community. They were begging for ICE enforcement action because of the crime in Chicago. I made a commitment to them that we'd be out there. I also made a commitment to the mayor of Chicago that I'm coming to Chicago, even though he said I wasn't welcomed, and along with Governor Pritzker. And plus, just a few days ago, Pritzker did put on social media ICE was in an elementary school. I wanted to make a point that ICE is going to do that job. regardless if they're going to help us or not. As far as the local community, nothing but cheers walking through the airport, cheers walking through the streets. We stopped at a police station to take a nature break, and we've been on the road so long, and every uniform in that building walked up, shook our hands, and thanked us for being there and helping them make their communities more safe.
Stop at the Krispy Kreme in Naperville or the Starbucks in Hinsdale and see if you get the same cheers. That's where the problem areas are in terms of public opinion. Who was picked up this weekend in Chicago? Again, just some detail from Homan.
Yesterday, during the operation I was part of, I can tell you we arrested more than 9 TDA members, Tendagua members. A couple of them are being criminally prosecuted because one of them was selling weapons. Here's an illegal alien gang member in the United States selling guns, illegal guns, to other gang members. And some of these guns had what they call switch. The switch is added to the gun to make a fully automatic. It turns a Glock handgun into a machine gun. So we arrested a lot of TDA members. I know we arrested 2 illegal aliens that had murder convictions that were walking the street. We arrested at least 7 sexual predators, mostly child predators. We arrested people with assault allegations, extreme sexual assault. These are all bad people, public safety threats. They shouldn't be walking the streets of Chicago. If they weren't a sanctuary city, we should have arrested them in the safety and security of a jail rather than releasing them in the community and put the community at greater risk of crime and assaults.
Right, but I guess the argument goes, help me, from these open borders, sanctuary jurisdiction politicians and their acolytes. Well, yes, of course. I mean, you try to square the circle in this logic, but yes, of course, people in this country who illegally who pose a public safety threat should be deported if they've been convicted of a crime, so forth, if they've been previously deported. Well, of course. However, these operations have a chilling effect. And so other people in this country illegally won't show up for work. Other people in this country illegally won't send their kids to school. This is the argument. So on the one hand, they say, yes, pick them up and deport them. On the other hand, they say no because it has a chilling effect, which speaks to how disingenuous or just illogical they are. In addition to that, this whole chilling effect argument, I was just thinking about it. I posted yesterday, just so sick of hearing it. A chilling effect, that's a deterrent. Every law is supposed to have a chilling effect to encourage compliance with the law. That's called deterrence. So if you're opposed to the chilling effect or the deterrence, then you're opposed to the law. And that's the real position of these open borders leftists. I don't really care what Jelly B or BLM Brandon or any of these other sanctuary city and state Pauls have to say up and down the power structure in Chicago and Illinois and nationally. Forget what they say their position is when they try to middle the issue. Oh, of course, violent criminals here illegally should be deported. They don't believe that. No. They don't believe that because they're more concerned about a chilling effect on other people who are here illegally. You can't have it both ways. And that's what they're trying to do because they're unserious about public safety. And that starts right here. The Illinois and Chicago base camp for that, isn't it? While on the prowl, these tactical operations, of course, right-wing media personality Dr. Phil McGraw was with Tom Homan.
Oh, that's greatest. I mean, the guy, too, that they were arrested, like, wait, are you Dr. Phil?
So Seda is this dude from Thailand, and once ICE had Seda in custody, Dr. Phil had a little Q&A with him before Tom Homan called the show and said, let's roll.
What's your name?
Seda. Seda what? You have a first and last name? Sam. Seda Sam? Yes.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
I've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with?
Charged with?
Before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen?
Yes.
But you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You're Dr. Phil. You're Dr. Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
Yeah?
Can I have your autograph?
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. And he's walking the streets of Chicago. Of course. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really?
Really?
And never been deported?
Well.
Huh.
Let's take him in, process him, lock him up.
Seda, you're not lying to us, are you? I mean, good grief. By the way, if you haven't watched the Dr. Phil show, these are the sorts of riveting interviews you're missing. Good Lord. Jim in Lake Zurich, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, one thing that was never brought up that I didn't see in any of the articles, everybody's so concerned about school safety. If the Secret Service went to that school, that it's my understanding they went there to interview some kid that was posting online threats. What if that kid was also threatening people in that school or the other people going there, and then the Secret Service can't get in to investigate properly because they're being barred by some Marxist Chicago public school principal. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Well, right. Yeah, I mean, that's right. Their default position to oppose law enforcement, whether it's CPD or Secret Service or ICE. But then when you know what it is, because as Holman said, they left their cards, showed their credentials, left their cards behind, then you still go on MSNBC and lie about it like Pedro Martinez did.
Oh, he's so desperate. God. He's got to grow some onions.
David in Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. I used to have a pretty long wick when this all first started about trying to understand other people and where they're coming from, and now I just can't stand them. Just come back, stay away from me. I don't want to breathe the same air. But this thing with the schools, if it should teach us anything, is that how soft sells these places are, and it's, I mean, if people want to hurt us, they're going to hurt us where it hurts the most, and that's with our children. So when are they going to start, manning up and arming up and doing things for our schools so they're not such soft sells? Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, David. Well, we mentioned this before because these missives started coming out from these overpaid school superintendents, these educrats all over Chicagoland. So, the focus is always on CPS. And suburbanites love to focus on CPS to the exclusion of what's happening in their backyard. I mentioned the missive that the Barrington school superintendent put out that could have come from Brandon Johnson or Pedro Martinez. Here's another one. Hey, Western Springs, you want to wake up?
Oh, Western Springs.
So I wonder how Tom Homan and his officers would be treated in Western Springs. The superintendent of Western Springs School District 101 is a educrat named Sarah Coffey. She won't cooperate with ICE either, and she fears that ICE could soon be coming to the district's 3 elementary schools and 1 junior high because she's also a slow learner, and she doesn't understand the process that Tom Homan has articulated, I don't know, an infinite number of times, it seems, between the election and the inauguration, and now subsequently as operations are actually taking place. Sarah Coffey sent an email, unexpected Friday update, calling attention to the, quote, recent shift in leadership that has brought a wave of executive orders that deal with immigration status. Boy, she's on top of it. You're so lucky in Western Springs. Great educational leadership you have there.
So lucky.
The admin team and I are finalizing practical guidance to share with all of our main office folks in the event that we have an unexpected visit from an ICE agent.
Oh.
If an ICE agent requests to enforce an immigration matter on school grounds, please contact your principal immediately. You should not release any student or student information to them. If any district employee learns that a student's parent or guardian has been detained by ICE, inform your principal. We'll work together to report the matter to DCFS. She also warned teachers to be especially aware of students who might express support for Trump's enforcement of immigration laws. Quote, some students like to parrot or talk about the sound bites they hear on TV or social media without fully understanding the impact. Please be especially aware of student conversations or comments that may cause others anxiety or be insensitive. How about student comments that like we saw at the pro open borders rally outside of Trump Tower over the weekend, or in Dallas over the weekend. How about, is it insensitive if you say, Trump is a fascist, or F Trump, or we're not leaving, or, and you're here illegally, and is that insensitive to somebody who is here legally, is a citizen, whose parents are paying full freight? Which way does the insensitivity concern go? Is it only one direction, or is it both directions with respect to opinions on this topic?
And our local news reporters need to wake up. Immigrants are not being arrested. Illegal immigrants are being arrested.
Well,
I'm saying everything is like they're saying immigrants are being arrested left and right.
At present, it's illegal immigrants who pose a public safety threat.
Yes.
So it's much more specific. By the way, if you're wondering, Sarah Coffey, the superintendent of this Western Springs School District, her pronouns are she, her, and hers. Well, if you want to communicate with her, just so you're comfortable using her, just so you're comfortable knowing the pronouns, so that you use them properly, so there's no concern about sensitivities. Right. She makes $225,000 a year.
Oh, of course she does.
Of course she does.
Real quick, one moment of levity in all of this is the Twitter handle, or X, 5 times August. They X'd out, to any leftists upset by the deportations, it may help knowing that most of these people are unvaccinated, which is a class of people that you have no problem ostracizing, shaming, and segregating from society only a few short years back. So really, you should be celebrating this.
Mm-hmm. One more performance that demands our attention and commentary. Selena Gomez, the pop star, she took to social media as well. I don't know. It's so funny. It's like that federal worker who took to social media, then her complaining about having to return to work. Then the video goes viral, and then she takes down all of her social media accounts, her LinkedIn account, so forth. I mean, so it's like, look at me, but then if the looking at me generates any criticism, then I go into hiding. Selena Gomez offered this on behalf of her people. Again,
her people,
okay. The people that are being picked up. As you're from Tom Homan, I hate to be redundant, but Selena Gomez needs the redundancy. Your people are child sex predators and Tren de Aragua gang members, apparently.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry.
Oh boy.
All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
And scene.
And cut, paste. Yeah, that was taken down. I'm sure her publicist is like, oh, yeah, no, we're not going to go there. And then to Holman reacted. He just said, we're not arresting families.
I have some advice from Selena Gomez for Selena Gomez.
What's
Baby, show me you can calm down, calm down.
Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
More Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business, and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Does pain in your life impact everything you do, like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car? You don't have to live like this. Hey, Amy Jacobson here with a solution. Joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back due to arthritis or an injury can be eliminated. How? Well, with the help from our good friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Everyone's talking about it. And they're right here in Chicago under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Here's how it works. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. Joint pain doesn't get better with time. See if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, we've had a lot of text messages about people wanting to know that city worker, what kind of sandwich was he eating?
It was a 6-incher. Coming up at 6:36, Mexican drug cartels fire on CBP at the border. I wonder if those are Selena Gomez's people, too. Ron Vitiello, former director of both ICE and CBP, joins at 6:36.
And real quick, a big shout out, happy birthday to Marlon. He is a dedicated fan of this show. We love you, Marlon. Have a great day. Now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:32 on AM 560. House Speaker Mike Johnson this morning suggesting he's open to California wildfire recovery aid being linked to the Golden State adopting voter ID laws. Johnson also criticized California's handling of elections, citing 3 close congressional races that Republicans lost last November despite no evidence of fraud. ICE officials continue cracking down on illegal migrants nationwide this week. ICE Chicago Field Office Director Sam Olson says this morning it's been an arduous process, but they are only going after individuals considered to be highly dangerous.
We're not targeting people in schools. We're not targeting people in churches. We're targeting people who are the worst. There's a chance they're going to go to some of those places, and this administration has kind of taken some of the handcuffs off of us in a way, right? We're leaving the discretion with our officers, and our officers are trained to make good decisions out there.
It comes as a new DHS directive does allow some immigration officers to enter schools and churches and other previously protected areas to make arrests. President Trump has signed a number of executive orders that ban diversity-related programs in the military. Scott Bessent confirmed as the next Treasury Secretary, 68 to 29 on Monday. Google this morning says it will change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America in Google Maps. The company saying it's just waiting for the info to be updated in the U.S. Geographic Names System after the president changed the name last week. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress during a hearing about sanctuary cities. It happens on February 11th. The Lake County coroner highly critical of Vista Medical Center East in Waukegan after a woman died on that facility's roof last week. Coroner Jennifer Bannock saying Chelsea Adolphus died hours after she was found on the roof of that hospital early Thursday wearing only a hospital gown.
The door that we believe that she exited, if you exit that door, you are not able to return back inside of the hospital. And yes, it is our belief that there were doors that she exited that did not have alarms on them.
Bannock believes Adolphus's death was preventable, blasting the hospital for a lack of care and a lack of safety. The level of available workspace in downtown Chicago now at a record high after the year ended with the market posting its second worst in history. According to real estate firm CBRE, the share of available office space has risen to over 26%. And a Republican state senator is looking to require voter ID here in Illinois. Republican State Senator Chapin Rose says requiring voter ID is very popular in many districts.
This signature check thing is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, in this day and age, when everybody's got a driver's license, some kind of ID, why are we relying on a signature check?
Rose's bill goes beyond that. He wants to make ballot drop boxes illegal and make ballot harvesting a felony. As for how the measure will be handled by Democrats in the supermajority in Springfield,
I understand the state I'm in, but I also realize that there's the federal government at play, which last time I checked is Republican controlled and now has a Republican president.
Rose's measure, Senate Bill 181, sits in the Senate Committee on Assignments. The legislature returns to the Capitol today. The news, a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard Sunday morning at 7:30 on AM 560. The Answer. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees more double standards in Washington.
People who do not like Donald Trump, Democrats, people on the left, are outraged. They argue that it's one thing to pardon people who've not committed anything violent. It's another thing to pardon people who attacked police officers. Isn't it fascinating how all of a sudden people like that are now Dirty Harry?
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
What's that juice you're drinking?
That's my New Year's resolution.
Your New Year's resolution is to drink juice?
Well, it's to lower my blood pressure by drinking 120 Life.
Oh, yeah, 120 Life. I think I've heard about that. It's the natural way to help control blood pressure.
Yep, without the side effects of medication. It's formulated with a blend of superfruit juices, endorsed by hundreds of health professionals. And it tastes great.
Huh. So you just drink 120 Life?
To help control my blood pressure.
Well, that's an easy New Year's resolution to keep.
Try 120 Life yourself risk-free with a 2-week trial pack. They're so sure 120 Life can help lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code NEWYEAR to save 15%. Yes, start enjoying 120 Life for a new year with new lower blood pressure. Order it out to save 15%. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code NEWYEAR at checkout.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-7718. 800-525-7718. 800-525-7718.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
6:39 and a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Rapid Radio's instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com. Get an extra 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Code RADIO. Get an extra 5% off. The Kennedy this morning settling in about 30 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson right now at 40 minutes. 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Due to an earlier accident, southbound 55 jams up right before Route 53. The Tri-State jamming up northbound right at the Reagan, I-88. On I-80, an accident, left lane block, eastbound between Larkin and the Des Plaines River Bridge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, increasingly windy, and a high of 44. Currently 29. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So this happened at the border yesterday. Fox News reporting on this confrontation between Customs and Border Patrol officers and representatives, goons from a Mexican drug cartel.
Suspected cartel gunmen in Mexico fire shots at Border Patrol agents in Fronton, Texas. This all happened about 1 hour ago. Law enforcement tells Bill Malugin it happened as cartel members tried to bring a group of illegal immigrants across the river. The agents fired back. No one on either side was hit. The group of illegal immigrants did not make it across the Red River.
Boy, that's got to be very upsetting to Selena Gomez and J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and
Pedro
all these
Martinez.
other sanctuary Pauls that whose position is, whether they want to own it or not, no one can be illegal, not even people that the Mexican drug cartels are trying to force feed into this country. The ERO Los Angeles office, Enforcement and Recovery Office in Los Angeles, arrested a foreign fugitive wanted by authorities in El Salvador for homicide, illicit association, and terrorist organizations. He is a non-citizen, and now his removal to his home country of El Salvador is pending. And yet this is what you get from politicians in these sanctuary states, like Illinois, like Minnesota. Here's your chief law enforcement of the state of Minnesota, Attorney General Keith Ellison.
It's not the job of local law enforcement to carry out the dictates of the Trump administration. In fact, they've tried this before when they were in power, and they lost just about all the time they were in court when they tried to coerce states into being their little deputies. So let me just say that I have no fear of the Trump administration, absolutely not. And we're going to devote the resources of our state to our state business, not immigration business. That's their business. We're going to do our business. And of course, we're not going to interfere with their business, but we're not going to do their bidding because it's not our job.
Right. It's not my job to advance the public safety interests of Minnesota residents. That's what Keith Ellison is saying. And that's what all these sanctuary politicians are saying. But they are trying to get away with saying that by demagoguing Trump because he's, bad orange man, and they think they can continue to essentially run cover for drug cartels and violent criminals by just saying we're standing up to Trump. I mean, if they get away with that, Trump victory notwithstanding, what a state of affairs we have in this country. Ron Vitiello, former U.S. Border Patrol Chief, Deputy Commissioner and Director of ICE. He is the only person to have led both components of the Department of Homeland Security, both ICE and CBP. Ron Vitiello, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me, Dan. Good to talk to you.
What's your reaction to AG Keith Ellison? He's not the only one that has that opinion, that he and his peeps in Minnesota are not going to be used as the little deputies, his phrase, for ICE or CBP.
Well, it's sad that elected officials like the Attorney General of Minnesota, who took an oath, presumably to the Constitution and the Constitution of Minnesota, to protect Minnesotans, And to have him flout federal law and pretend that he's smarter and better able to protect the citizens of the state, it's a sad commentary on where the left is. They want us to believe that coming into the country without being invited, crossing a border illegally and staying in the country without being inspected is not a crime, when in fact it is a federal crime. It's a violation of the Administrative Code for Immigration, and it's also a federal felony. And so people like Keith Ellison are more interested in protecting criminals and people who come into the country illegally and commit crimes than they are protecting Minnesotans and the rest of America.
The confrontation that Fox reported you heard between goons from a Mexican cartel and Customs and Border Patrol agents yesterday. What is the state of affairs, to your best understanding, on the border with respect to the daily danger that Customs and Border Patrol agents face from organized criminal operations like those cartels?
Well, the cartels for the last 4 years have had the run of the place, if you will. They've controlled the southwest border more than any other entity. Under the Joe Biden administration, they took in record profits, smuggled record amount of fentanyl and every other drug that they ply their trade in, human trafficking, the worst of the worst kinds of things they've done to people in the pipeline. That area that's being reported in Fronton, Texas, is a very dangerous area most of the time. Lots of drug smuggling occurs there, but there's usually kind of a stasis between authorities and drug smugglers. And so what's happening now is that under this historic political victory of the Trump administration is now turning into winning on the operational front, right? Because there's more resources applied to the problems at our border, more agents out on patrol, and these drug smugglers are no doubt feeling the pressure of what they haven't seen in the last 4 years. And so there will be this adjustment that people will have to make. And I'm very proud of the work that's being done in CBP and ICE to reestablish the rule of law as it relates to immigration enforcement, securing the border, and making the streets of America safer.
But how many of all the millions that have come across our border illegally, how many do you think are violent offenders? Because we had 1,700 arrested last week. I mean, this could take years to get just the violent offenders off the streets and back to their home countries, right?
Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. Under the Biden administration, the government's own records say there are 11 million people that they've encountered, and many of them they've let go into the United States. And what we know from, traditional operations at the southwest border, the Border Patrol doesn't see everybody that crosses the border. Law enforcement doesn't encounter everybody, even if they are released. And so lots of people, the president on the campaign said it was about 20 million people. He's probably not wrong about that. And even if a fraction of that 20 million are violent offenders or criminals, it puts every city and town in America at risk. And again, so I'm grateful that the administration is now moving out on smart immigration enforcement to remove these criminals from our cities and the streets of America, and applying resources, unprecedented military support to the men and women of the front line at CBP. And then we've all seen the deportation activities in some of the large cities, including Chicago, that are now underway.
Well, I mean, going back to Representative Anthony Gonzalez's release of internal data from the federal government back after the election. Actually, it was before the election because it informed the election. This is against the backdrop now of ICE trying to get to 1,500 arrests a day of those who pose a public safety threat. But I mean, the number was somewhere in the neighborhood of 650,000 people in this country illegally who either committed a violent crime and had been convicted or were facing charges for a violent crime. And this was sort of the universe of Tier 1, those who pose a public safety threat. So if that number is even close to accurate, 650,000, even if you get to 1,500 a day, I mean, it shows you the scope of the problem.
And I would say that ICE and my colleagues at ICE, they've just started. They've just started this operation. So they're using internal resources and the capabilities that they have to apply to a new set of operational instructions, which means go after the worst of the worst. I think they're going to need time to scale up that activity. And I think you'll see the numbers increasing as we reduce activity in CBP at the border and remove those who enter illegally. That will free up more resources at ICE, including detention, to take more people into custody and put them on a path for removal, and essentially have those ops scaled up. We saw what the Drug Enforcement Administration did in Colorado. The word is out. The Trump effect is in full-scale activity across the country in going after these vicious gang members like the Tren de Aragua, going after violent offenders in cities like Chicago and Denver and Los Angeles. And so I'm eager to see more of it, eager to participate in it, and continue to protect America in ways that we have not seen in the last administration.
I loved when ICE raided that invite-only party in Denver where they got weapons, cash, I mean, you name it, steroids, this pink cocaine. But how do we make sure that they don't come back in? We deport them, we put them on military planes, send them back to their homeland. Do you think some of them will have the gall and the nerve to try and come back in again?
Well, that's what criminals do. They take advantage of, weaknesses in enforcement and like sanctuary cities and things like that. And so now it's time to invest and sustain operations at the border. So operational control, increased infrastructure, increased agents on patrol, consequences for those who do elect to come in, and just more capability, more sensors, more access to the border. And things like the wall will help prevent future illegal entries. And then, the goal would be to sustain those operations over time to continue to, secure the border and protect America.
House Oversight Committee Chairman Jim Comer calling on 4 sanctuary city mayors to testify at an Oversight Committee hearing scheduled for February 11th. That would be Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, our very own Brandon Johnson, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, and New York City Mayor Eric Adams. They're all, Adams being perhaps not really in that category anymore, but all of them are preside over sanctuary cities, and all of them have basically voiced opposition to cooperating with ICE in any meaningful way, not allowing local law enforcement to be constructive and so forth. What, if anything, would you like to see the Trump administration do to sanctuary city and state jurisdictions in terms of, basically punishment for not working constructively with federal law enforcement when almost in any other context, combating domestic or international terrorism or any other context, gangs dealing in drugs and gangs. The idea of federal law enforcement coming in and working with local is something that is universally supported, except here. And I wonder if, you were advising President Trump how you would suggest he deal with some of these bad actors in public offices.
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing and what is going to happen is a continued pressure on these cities. I think in the law enforcement context and in cooperation with ICE, I think there's a situation where we ask, it seems that Mayor Adams has gone through a conversion. He wants these things addressed in his city. I think it'll happen in other places. So let's ask them to cooperate, and then tell them what's going to happen if they don't cooperate, and then make them through the legal means by restricting grant monies from the Department of Justice or putting maybe laws in place. With the assistance of Congress, the president can make these cities and towns and these mayors end these destructive policies that don't allow them to cooperate with ICE. And so I think that between the Justice Department and the actual activity at ICE will be a benefit to end these destructive practices in order to keep us safe, in order to make these streets safe for our children and our futures.
Ron Vitiello is a former U.S. Border Patrol chief, deputy commissioner and director of ICE. He's the only person to have led both components of the Department of Homeland Security, ICE and CBP. Ron Vitiello, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate your time.
Glad to be with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions, where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Tour Edge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
All right, you've heard the Turnkey name for years here at AM 560, and maybe you've thought that you don't need help because you've made it this far with your network. Well, have you grown your business or acquired another business? Do you have more than one network that you've hobbled together? Maybe your sales team has grown, or your client base, or your network is old and outdated, holding your business back from its full potential. All of the reasons can leave your business open for security breaches, stop production, compromise sales, and cost you thousands of dollars. Don't leave it up to hourly IT managers that comes in when he's available. Turnkey understands the importance of having a network you can count on. For the price of a monthly car payment, Turnkey will fully protect your network with the most secure, up-to-date cyber protection, unlimited backup, unlimited 24/7 help desk support, and real-time threat hunting, all by world-class technicians who really care about helping people. So protect your small business today. Visit turnkey.pro, turnkey.pro, the champions of small business. That's turnkey.pro.
That sound means it's time for In-Depth History with Frank, the history teacher from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world. It's just the history you don't know, and Frank does. Frank, take it away.
Good morning. In 1912, the very radical continental drift theory, as developed by non-geologist Alfred Wegener, created quite a stir. Wegener was only 32, and his theory was incomplete. But by the 1950s, enough evidence had been accumulated that it became the accepted view. Wegener, though, like Copernicus with his heliocentric theory, never got to see any personal accolades, as he died in Greenland in 1930, setting up a weather station. His frozen body remains there to this day. Beyond terra firma, the standard model for explaining the whole universe and its expansion since the Big Bang, known as the lambda cold dark matter model, is also now suspect. This rather nerdy model relies on the assumption of something known as a cosmological constant of dark energy, which causes the universe to expand at a faster rate as it ages. But recent findings from the new James Webb Telescope challenge the old assumptions of lambda and may upend astronomy as much as Wegener did geology. So we now live in a universe in theoretical flux. At least the left can count on one constant, that the Constitution enshrines birthright citizenship for anyone born here. Recently, though, the phrase, quote, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, end quote, has been rediscovered as an actual part of the 14th Amendment. How the court interprets this for 2025 is to be determined, but it will largely depend on its view of the 1898 decision, U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark. An argument can be made that that decision made a distinction between the offspring of legal and illegal immigrants. Either way, the new decision will have huge ramifications.
Very good, Frank, as always. I love the Alfred Wegener history lesson that he died setting up a weather station. His frozen body remains in Greenland to this day. Another angle in for Trump to claim Greenland for America is we want to recover the remains of great scientist Alfred Wegener. He claimed Greenland for America when he was setting up that weather station. How about that?
What I like is the fact that the whole model for describing the universe is known as the lambda cold dark matter model. Mm-hmm. You know, Revenge of the Nerds. Lambda.
Yeah.
Right. Omega Mu.
It was
fun stuff.
It was foretold.
We ought to send that actor as an ambassador to Greenland. That's what we should do.
Robert Carradine?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
The guy who played the top nerd.
Yeah.
So I forgot. That's his name. So.
The guy who plays the top nerd now is named Elon. But yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't want to go there. He wouldn't want to spend his time there.
Mm-hmm. So. Frank from Arlington Heights, thank you as always. By the way, I've got an assignment for you that segues nicely to our next segment. Put the AI race into historical context for us?
I'll try and do that with this DeepSeek stuff. Pretty interesting.
Indeed, and that's what we're going to talk about with Chris Whalen at 7:07. Thanks, Frank.
I love Chris. He's great. I love his commentary. Excellent. Thank you.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Madigan's attorney finishes closing arguments in the corruption trial. Mayor Lori Lightfoot unveils findings of a probe into the Dalton mayor's spending. Lake County coroner blasting a Waukegan hospital after a woman dies on the roof of a medical center. Bulls beat the Nuggets, and WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
He wants the U.S. to be just as protected as Israel. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News President Trump has signed an executive order to create the same thing here they use there.
To immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans.
The president also signed other executive orders for the military, including eliminating DEI programs and ordering a review of transgender troops, which could lead to an eventual ban. The president made his comments at a gathering with House Republicans at his resort in Doral, Florida, where he also reacted to a Chinese AI startup, DeepSeek, using cheaper technology, which led to a big tech sell-off on Wall Street. And he calls it a wake-up call.
We need to be laser focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that.
Well, the NASDAQ plunged 3% yesterday, but this morning NASDAQ futures are up slightly. Federal agents keep conducting immigration raids across the country. Trump orders our Tom Homan tells Fox.
Anybody in the country illegally, they're on the table, but we're going to go after them in a prioritization that makes sense. The worst first.
That means immigrants considered criminal or public safety threats first. Yesterday alone, ICE agents made almost 1,200 arrests nationwide, ordered another 800-plus immigrants be detained. But as Democrats push back, vowing to resist these raids, House Republicans take action.
The House Oversight Committee sent 4 letters to the mayors of Chicago, New York City, Denver, and Boston. The committee states while there are hundreds of cities and counties with sanctuary laws or policies across the U.S., these 4 cities stand out because of their, quote, abject failure to comply with federal law.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. A grocery store is a crime scene in Elkhart, Indiana. A gunman opened fire inside a Martin's supermarket.
Police rushing to the scene say they found 2 victims dead inside the store. That's when the shooter opened fire and was killed in the exchange of gunfire. 2 officers who were hit are expected to recover. No immediate word on what prompted the shooting.
That's Gary Baumgarten. America's listening to Fox News.
28 degrees, sunrise in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson being called to testify before Congress during a hearing about sanctuary cities. The mayor is being called to testify at a House Oversight and Government Reform Committee hearing on February 11. The Lake County coroner highly critical of Vista Medical Center East in Waukegan after a woman died on the facility's roof last week. Coroner Jennifer Bannock.
Exited. If you exit that door, you are not able to return back inside of the hospital. And yes, it is our belief that there were doors that she exited that did not have alarms on them.
Preliminary autopsy results do show she died of hypothermia. Bannock believes Adolphus's death was preventable and blasted the hospital for a lack of care and safety. Closing arguments could finally come to an end today in Michael Madigan's corruption trial. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
On Monday, defense attorney Dan Collins called the government a, quote, worthless piece of paper. The prosecutors say ComEd gave no-show jobs to Madigan allies in exchange for legislation that benefited the utility. Chicago's Southside Republican Chairman Devin Jones said the corruption in the system abuses the middle class and poor people.
Like you said, you can't look at your ComEd bill the same way. We're forced to continue to pay that bill. Otherwise, you don't have electricity.
Jones said Madigan's influence is still present in Springfield.
Many of these people that are in the state legislature are either Madigan's chosen successors, or they have been there.
Closing arguments from co-defendant Michael McLean's team are scheduled Tuesday. In Chicago, I'm Jim Talamonte.
Chicago's Looking Glass Theater Company ready to reopen its doors for the first time in nearly 2 years. Ceremonial ribbon cutting yesterday. Actor and founder of Looking Glass, David Schwimmer, was on hand.
This is Chicago.
the city of big shoulders, and its strength, resilience, and work ethic inspires us. We decided to regroup, rebuild, and today reopen.
Schwimmer is a founding member of the company more than 35 years ago. The Bulls beat the Nuggets 129-121 last night. The Blackhawks visit Tampa Bay. Fighting Illini dropped 3 spots in yesterday's college basketball poll. The news is a service of Balance of Nature fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% as a preferred customer. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
I love you.
Really?
Will you be my Valentine?
Wow.
I'm smitten with employee-free showrooms.
Oh, you're professing your affection for Hassleus Mattress.
I'm head over heels.
Our employee-free showrooms save you so much money.
My heart's all aflutter.
Through Monday, Hassleus Mattress will give you an additional $248 in instant savings on any Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper.
You complete me.
Find an employee-free Chicagoland showroom near you at hassleus.com.
Time's running out. Citigroup predicts gold hitting $3,000 by 2025. Every day you wait could cost you. Noble Gold Investments is your path to the future, your guide to what's coming. Don't wait for $3,000 gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and get 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins with a qualified account. Just use promo code SILVER. Get ready for tomorrow's gains today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risk. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making any investment decision.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. While on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In that instant, his life changed forever. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with other catastrophic injuries. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Chicagoland Certified Financial Planning Professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the Retirement Tax Bill Calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at MVPCFP.com. That's MVPCFP.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to MVPCFP.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. As always, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is the service of our friends at Valdecas Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high quality and professional level window replacement service. Contact Valdecas Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella certified contractor, Valdecas.com. Kennedy Express lanes jam solid between Armitage and Ohio right now. 35 from O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. Stevenson 45 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-57 in the Bishop Ford jamming into the Ryan merge. The Ryan at 20 minutes right now, 95th into the Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, increasingly windy today. The high at 44. Partly cloudy, breezy for tonight, low 33. Morning flurries tomorrow. Partly sunny, breezy day, high 43. Clouds on Thursday with a high at 49. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clear in 28 at O'Hare. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Questions asked of J.D. Vance over the weekend that the D.C. press corps not terribly interested in during the 4 years of Joe Biden's tenure. Hey, when are prices going to come down? Marg Brennan, we have so much to get to chick, asked J.D. Vance that very question, this is a snap of a fingers type thing. You promised, now you're in for 5 minutes. When are prices going to come down? He had to explain the basis of inflation to Miss Brennan.
Things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course. of course.
Those things, when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
Oh, interesting. Inputs, the regulatory environment, these things matter in business. What a revelation, at least it was to Margaret Brennan. Something else, too. This was classic Trump. I wanted to get Chris Whalen's take on this.
Which thing?
Trump asked about his relationship with the Fed. You know, he wants interest rates to come down. He wants the cost of capital to be lower. And but the D.C. press corps is always concerned about Trump dictating to the Fed. The Fed's an independent body. You're not going to tell Jay Powell his what twos and where to fours, are you?
The interest rates will come down.
You said that you would demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would. I would put in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
And the smirk on his face, like, yeah. I think we're pretty locked in.
Yeah.
I think they'll
listen to me. Christopher Whalen's an investment banker and chairman of Whalen Global Advisors. He's also the author of Ford Men, From Inspiration to Enterprise, and editor of the Institutional Risk Analyst. Yeah, the Fed's going to listen to me, Chris.
They will. It's very difficult for a Fed chairman to function without the support of the White House and the Treasury. This is a practical matter. So there's a lot of posturing going on right now. But, Trump is right. His visceral instinct is that rates are too high, and he knows this because he can see what's going on in commercial real estate. You guys can see it in Chicago there, up close and personal. And, we have a huge problem. We published a comment yesterday in the blog that shows the amount of money that banks have reported as income, but they haven't collected yet. It's $100 billion. That's 2 quarters worth of earnings for the whole industry. And what that is forbearance. People can't pay. And so what the banks are saying is keep the building. We're going to lower your loan payment. Or, with Signature Bank here in New York, we went interest only for a lot of these deals. And they don't want the building. So they'll keep lowering the payment until, they can't anymore. But there's a huge iceberg out there coming. And I worry about Trump because I don't know how much time he has before we have to start dealing with this. The Fed's wreckage from lowering rates and then raising rates 5.5 points, that's how Trump should be attacking the Fed. Mismanagement, stupidity, right?
Well, we've been talking about this commercial real estate bubble for quite a time now, particularly when you have main retail drags in big cities like Michigan Avenue that have historically pretty close to historically high non-occupancy rates. And but I also maybe it was conversation with you, maybe somebody else, but I also took it to in these conversations in the last year and a half that at the end of the day, banks and commercial real estate interests are going to work these things out, and you'll see some bankruptcies, and it'll be somewhat of a hit, but in the overall scheme of things, it's not going to be terribly impactful. You're changing your. Was that your tune previously, and now you're changing it?
No, it's just that the reported numbers for the banks, okay, who only like to do business with affluent people, remember, are okay. They're not horrible. But when you look at the bottom third of the U.S. economy, you look at the FHA market for first-time and low-income families, if you look at commercial real estate loans that have been sold in the bonds, okay, there is a festering mess out there. And it's not mostly consumer, mostly it's commercial. You don't hear about it because lawyers are sitting in a conference room somewhere arguing with each other. They don't come out in the public and talk about it. So there is a huge problem there, and I think Trump knows this. He's been in the business long enough to understand that commercial real estate does not function well in a deflationary environment. If you don't have at least 2% inflation every year, you have a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, give us a sense of what you're talking about. This is a big problem. I mean, in a worst case and a best case scenario, what happens?
Worst case scenario is you start to see endowments and pension funds and others who invested directly in commercial real estate having to fess up some really big losses. You're going to see some banks take some really outsized hits because they are forbearing right now. They're pretending. When they can't pretend anymore, then all of a sudden they've got to report the loss. And you see this all across the board in commercial real estate. There's so much extend and pretend, as we like to call it in finance, in commercial real estate today, that I don't think people realize the magnitude. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in losses coming at the U.S. economy. And sure, these are, real estate developers. Who cares, right? No, it does trickle down. And it's going to impact a lot of different parts of society. There are hundreds of small credit unions and banks out there that are insolvent. And the FDIC and the National Credit Union Association don't have the cash to resolve them because they can't sell them. When you have dead banks, as we had in 2008, the Fed dropped interest rates, right? It's easy to sell assets when you have loss sharing with the FDIC and interest rates are falling. Right now, we've got the Fed trying to prove that they are, tougher than Donald Trump. So they're saying, oh, well, we don't have to cut now. Yeah, you do. See, the Fed doesn't realize how close to the edge we are in terms of liquidity in the money markets and also this problem I just described.
So, really pedestrian question. A lot of people are asking, and the Democrats are harping on, egg prices are still too high. When are we going to see any relief in the grocery store? I mean, they're, ripping on Trump because he's focusing, they claim, on Greenland instead of the economy.
Well, look, what Vance said about energy prices is a big part of it. I think also vendors during COVID took the opportunity to raise prices. And frankly, they are getting back what they gave away earlier in terms of inflation of their own production costs. Making eggs, believe it or not, is not a high-margin business. It's a break-even business for a lot of producers, depending on the ebb and flow of prices, right? So, yeah, they made money for a few months, but it's a vicious cycle because their costs keep going up. That's why Vance and Trump are so focused on energy. It's the biggest thing that they can change that will impact inflation, Amy. The other factors are much smaller. Energy is huge. And then what's the other big factor in trucking, for example? People. Those are the two factors you have.
I wanted to get your take on the hammering that the NASDAQ took yesterday, since the whole thing is predicated on the performance of NVIDIA. Here's Alexander Wang is one of these geniuses, MIT dropout who founded Scale AI. I think he's like the youngest billionaire on record. He was talking about this during Davos on CNBC about DeepSeek, the Chinese Chicom AI company, and the kind of capacity that they had, that maybe the AI companies and sort of the West in general didn't appreciate. Take a listen.
You know, the Chinese labs, they have more H100s than people think. You know, these are the highest powered NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to have. Yes. My understanding is that DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100s, which they can't talk about, obviously, because it is against the export controls that the United States has put in place. And I think it is true that, you know, I think they have more chips than other people expect, but also on a go-forward basis, they are going to be limited by the chip controls and the export controls that we have in place.
Well, right now, the sort of shocked the space with their rollout of their new R1 model, which has this sort of computing power that OpenAI and other players have, but a fraction of the cost to develop. And this was what sent the market reeling yesterday.
And they published their model. So they threw down the gauntlet to these U.S. AI shops and said, come on, show us the goods. I find this all very amusing. You know, I rode NVIDIA up to over $1,000 before the split, and I got off because it made no sense. But having worked in the technology sphere, and I know a lot of people who in that space, I am not impressed by AI. I think it's just the latest fad. You know, computers compute and they sort. These are the two things that they do. What has AI discovered for us? Well, it is really good at coming up with fantastic scenarios that nobody else would ever think of, and it's really good at being mediocre. You know, use Google Docs and use their grammar tool, the little bot that's supposed to help you write. No, it doesn't work at all. and the averaging and the surveying of data using all this horsepower, right? What is it getting us? What are we getting at the end of the day? Better customer service so I could fire a few more low-wage people at Bank of America? Nah.
No, but I mean,
not productivity.
But the generative writing piece is interesting. I've been looking online about this, and some people were comparing and contrasting because these are language models at this stage of development. That's what they are. So it's not, you know, it's not this brave new world quite yet. But you know, but this is ongoing. But the language performance of DeepSeek's R1 model. Much better than some of the ChatGPT, the Claude, and so forth. So you know, it's just this ongoing evolution, and you're measuring it against the offerings from some of these other companies, and you know, in addition to, you know, the firepower behind it. Now, one of the other things with this language model is you're not allowed to criticize President Xi. No surprise there. But I mean, you know, all of them have their problems too in terms of their blind spots based on their politics. So I guess my point is to say that if you had Trump do that big announcement with Ellison and Masa-san and Sam Altman the other day, and we're supposed to be in this AI arms race with the Chi-Coms, and I'm just and you think it's like all a phony baloney race, or you just think that it's not as you know, sort of existential at this point as it's being advertised to be?
It's the latest thing. You know, there's always got to be a thing that everybody's fixated on. Remember blockchain? You know, before that, we have had various other things. And I just view it as part of the marketing culture in the West. It's also shared by the Chinese firms to the extent that they are facing the markets. But, you know, to me, it's just human nature. We see the shiny object, we chase it. That's it. People, you know, hype a stock like NVIDIA. I'm very grateful, by the way. You know, my return
tenfold. Yeah, I would think you would be.
But I've learned over the years as an analyst that you look for the crowd, and you don't question why the crowd is there. You just know that there will be a crowd. So let me give you a great example. SoFi reported earnings yesterday, kind of fintech bank, right? They haven't been profitable till about a year ago. And the increase in the valuation was astronomical because they weren't profitable. Now that they're reporting earnings, boring, okay? So they reported good earnings yesterday. The stock tanked 10%. It's an impressive-looking chart. It's like, you know, when you push something off the edge of the table, whoa! And they had a good quarter. So this is the strange world we live in. The future, the promise of something down the road is much more appealing than reality.
That's a pretty good commentary on human nature. I wanted to get one more of your hot takes here. Scott Bessent confirmed as Treasury Secretary. We haven't talked since he was leveled up and obviously confirmed. What's your handle on him and how important he will be in terms of advising and policymaking?
Well, like Steve Mnuchin in Trump 1, Mr. Bessent is going to have to be the adult in the room. You know, Treasury is the most important agency in the government. Also, the professional staff at Treasury are very important, and I hope that Trump doesn't start attacking them, because then the government will stop working. Now, Bessent has an affable manner, South Carolina gentleman. He was asked if we were going to default on the debt. He said no, which was the right answer, of course. But he's got a lot of things on his plate. Just getting control of the deficit, just slowing the growth, number one, will help rates fall. Then the Fed can say, oh, okay, we can help you out. But if they're not sure what the administration's going to do on the fiscal side, then there's no reason for the Fed to act. So in a sense, that interest rate question is in Trump's hands. If he and Bessent and, Elon Musk and all the rest of them can make progress on the deficit, start pushing it down, maybe show some leadership on revenue, which we don't like to talk about, then I think rates will fall. Because, there's so much cash sloshing around, you wouldn't believe it. Even with all the defaults I described to you before, people are still reinvesting in real estate. You can't tell them not to. Here in New York, for God's sake, it's hardly better than Chicago. Why would people put more new capital into multifamily in New York City so they could be rent regulated? Makes no sense at all. Condos? Yes. Rentals? No. But the rentals are raising money. Look at the Real Deal this morning.
First thing Bessent has to do, of course, is clean out all those mustache combs from his desk left behind by Janet Yellen.
Listen, he is the adult in the room, along with the chief of staff of the White House, who has conducted a brilliant transition. No leaks, no public fussing. I'm very impressed with this lady. Those are the two people who are going to keep Donald under control, if anyone can.
Chris Whalen, investment banker, chairman of Whalen Global Advisors, author of Fordman From Inspiration to Enterprise, and editor for the Institutional Risk Analyst, if you want more of his expert insights. Chris Whalen, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
All right, if simple things like walking, climbing stairs, even getting out of your car hurts, then you need to talk to our good friends at QC Kinetics. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. We're talking about pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. And there's good news. QC Kinetics is here. They're friends of mine, and they offer groundbreaking treatments if you have pain due to arthritis or an injury. We're talking long-term relief. QC Kinetics regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation, and they're right here in the Chicago area under the guidance of medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Thousands of patients will tell you, don't wait. People we spoke to said, I wish I would have done this sooner. Joe Rogan recently mentioned his positive results with regenerative medicine. Be one of the cool kids. Find out all the information for yourself about PRP treatments. They can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. QC Connect treatments prompt your body to heal and restore damaged joints. There's no downtime again. And joint pain does not get better with time, folks. So before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing treatments. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. They'll walk you through the process, and be sure when you call them, you tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you. 312-809-5955.
A new president is sworn in. America's greatness is being restored. And there's breaking news every minute. Now, tens of millions of Americans are turning off Fox and CNN and tuning in to Newsmax for the breaking information they really need to know. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Find it yourself on all major cable systems and on your TV or smartphone store. Just download the Newsmax app for free and start watching. You'll get great shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and Carl Higbie, and more. Find out why millions of Americans have made the switch. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. So make the switch to Newsmax. Check us out on cable and satellite TV or download the Newsmax app today. Watch us anytime, anywhere. Remember, Newsmax is real news for real people.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's getting worse in Chicago. You have Pritzker and BLM Brandon lecturing ICE on public safety. Now add in second ward alderman and daily flunky Brian Hopkins. I mean, we just had a conversation about adults in the room in D.C. with Chris Whalen. Yeah. Are we ever going to have any adults in any room in government in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois? We'll start there with Mark Glennon, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related, 737.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
28 degrees. Skies are clear at 732. Here in Chicago this morning, 3 women have been found shot in an alley on the city's south side. The women discovered around 4:50 a.m. this morning near 78th and Crandon in the city's South Shore neighborhood. Chicago police say 2 of the women, believed to be within the age of 20 to 30 years, both had gunshot wounds to the head, both found dead at the scene. President Trump's latest executive orders are military-related. On Monday, he moved to ban diversity-related programs. Other executive orders includes one that reinstates those that were discharged for refusing the COVID vaccine. The death toll from the wildfires around Los Angeles is now 29. Another death reported by the L.A. County Medical Examiner on Monday, the result of the Palisades fire. This morning, Los Angeles City Fire Captain Adam Van Gerpen says remnants of lithium-ion batteries from electric cars are now the biggest major concern.
We don't know the long-term effects of all this exposure, and we haven't seen it on this large of a scale and this many electric vehicles.
That fire erupted January 7 and destroyed about 23,000 acres. Well, remember those mysterious drone sightings? Well, they're back. The FAA has lifted its 30-day flight ban from New Jersey to Connecticut and New York. Those unexplained sightings are back, along with some videos that may or may not show the mysterious drones. New York Senator Chuck Schumer this morning confirming the sightings, saying they'll have a look at it. Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress during a hearing about sanctuary cities. That hearing will occur next month. Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting near a supermarket in Elkhart, Indiana. Elkhart Police spokesperson Jessica McBriar.
2 individuals were pronounced deceased inside. We have a suspect that was believed to be the suspect in this incident. He is also deceased.
The Elkhart Homicide Unit is handling that investigation. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot unveiling her findings of an investigation into the spending of embattled Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
There is not a system for ensuring that there are receipts for the various credit card purchases. And what this means, unfortunately, is that the Board of Trustees in many instances was not able to even track or see credit card purchases that were being done over the last few years.
And a woman is accused of trying to smuggle drugs in her wheelchair through O'Hare. Federal authorities say agents stopped Elaine Perez Pena Saturday after she got off a plane in a wheelchair during a trip from Brazil to Newark, New Jersey. Now, Perez Pena had previously pleaded guilty to smuggling 3 kilograms of cocaine in her suitcase during a trip from the Dominican Republic in 2021. Bulls beat the Nuggets 129-121, avoiding their 3rd consecutive loss. Blackhawks take on Tampa Bay tonight. The news, a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. What if you could save an average of 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back? With the Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO, or FEP, it's possible. Check if you qualify. AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's Reveille. What will it take for Illinois residents across the state to stand up to their political rulers and demand that federal immigration laws are enforced? On Sunday, Trump border czar Tom Homan showed up in Chicago to apprehend criminal illegal aliens. He brought with him federal officials from the DEA, ATF, ICE, FBI, and the U.S. Marshals. According to reports, those arrested in Chicago included 6 convicted of serious sex offenses, multiple gang members, and 2 others who were previously convicted of murder and aggravated sexual battery. Unfortunately, the arrests and deportation efforts came too late to save Chloe Polzin and Katie Braham, 2 young women aged 21 and 20 who were killed by an illegal alien in Urbana who was driving drunk and slammed into the car the women were riding in. The illegal alien fled on foot and was later caught in South Texas attempting to flee to Mexico. He was an illegal who previously had been deported. Thanks to open borders that allowed him in and sanctuary states that harbored him and provided him with provisions to live here, he was in Urbana driving drunk. Before Illinois became a sanctuary state, at the beginning of Trump's first term in February of 2017, the City Council of Urbana, hoping to calm fears, reaffirmed their community as a sanctuary for those in the country illegally. Shockingly, the City Council made this move just 6 weeks after Jeannie Brady was killed in Urbana by an illegal alien who was also driving drunk. The Urbana police let the suspect walk out of the hospital after being treated because of their sanctuary policy. He fled and has never been brought to justice. Urbana didn't learn their lesson, and now Urbana officials, our Illinois governor, and every politician supporting sanctuary policies has blood on their hands. It's time, Illinois. Change out the politicians, and you get different policies. I'm Jeannie Ives. Check out The Real Story with me Sunday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. On Tuesday last week, President Trump issued an executive order revoking LBJ's own order from September of 1965. Trump's new executive order is true to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the 14th Amendment, not to be seen as neither a liberal nor a conservative action. Rather, it is the Constitution speaking, as the Constitution was amended to eradicate the great stain of slavery after the long and bloody Civil War. The horrible turn taken by LBJ towards counting by race was a deep one, a turn extended by the Supreme Court in the 1978 Bakke decision. It was only finally and fully repudiated by SCOTUS in recent years. And now it is federal policy that can be enforced by the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice and the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education. Bravo to the many hands that crafted this new executive order, and especially to President Trump, who issued it and signed it. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
7:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy commuters, your travel time just went up a lot because of an accident. Left lane blocked on the inbound side of the Kennedy between Montrose and North Avenue. Things are really slow this morning right now. Ike inbound, 60 minutes, 390 into the old post office. The Stevenson up to 1 hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 31 minutes in from 95th to the Circle. And DuSable Lakeshore Drive has an accident southbound between Montrose and Belmont. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, increasingly windy, and a high of 44. Currently, partly cloudy and 28. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out. I said, when
Top of the morning,
moving
Dan
out.
and Amy. That theme music means it's time for our weekly confab with wirepoints.org representatives, often Ted Dabrowski, sometimes Mark Lennon. Tom Homan detailed yesterday on Fox his predicate to targeted operations in Chicago that are receiving so much attention, targeted operations in Chicago that generated a number of arrests, removing people from Chicago, the streets of Chicago, in this country legally, who are also predators. You would think that would be welcomed. You would think.
I went to Chicago a couple times, met with black pastors, met with the community. They were begging for ICE enforcement action because of the crime in Chicago. I made a commitment to them that we'd be out there. I also made a commitment to the mayor of Chicago that I'm coming to Chicago, even though he said I wasn't welcomed, and along with Governor Pritzker. And plus, just a few days ago, Pritzker did put on social media ICE was in an elementary school. I wanted to make a point that ICE is going to do that job regardless if they're going to help us or not. As far as the local community, nothing but cheers walking through the airport, cheers walking through the streets. We stopped at a police station to take a nature break, and we went on the road so long, and every uniform in that building walked up, shook our hands, and thanked us for being there and helping them make their communities more safe.
Well, that's where Tom Homan went off the rails, according to Mope alderhuman Brian Hopkins, daily toady, installed there and on the north side to be, basically a Mope alderhuman, what you're used to, what the residents have become accustomed to. So because Tom Homan and ICE officers stopped in the local police department, they're doing it wrong. So says Hopkins.
One alderman said agents showed up at 4 different police stations around the city on Sunday.
They just simply walked in, as members of the public would, and walked up to the counter, identified themselves as federal agents, and said they were on an arrest mission. That's not the way to do that.
Why? What's the way to do it? They're not asking local law enforcement to work with them because they know, per people like Alderhuman Brian Hopkins, most of the city council, and of course the mayor and the governor over the top and the Cook County Board president over the top, that there's not going to be any cooperation. But federal officers introducing themselves to local police, what's the problem?
How can he say that knowing the Chicago Inn is in his ward and he knows darn well what's going on outside of that hotel?
He's a pandering jamoke. That's how he could say it. And just to remind Brian Hopkins and the rest of these pandering mopes in public office, this is who Tom Homan and team removed from Chicago this weekend.
Yesterday, during the operation I was part of, I can tell you we arrested more than 9 TDA members, Tendo Agua members. A couple of them are being criminally prosecuted because one of them was selling weapons. Here's an illegal alien gang member in the United States selling guns, illegal guns, to other gang members. And some of these guns had what they call switch. The switch is added to the gun to make it fully automatic. It turns a Glock handgun into a machine gun. So we arrested a lot of TDA members. I know we arrested 2 illegal aliens that had murder convictions that were walking the street. We arrested at least 7 sexual predators, mostly child predators. We arrested people with assault allegations, extreme sexual assault. These are all bad people, public safety threats. They shouldn't be walking the streets of Chicago. If they weren't a sanctuary city, we should have arrested them in the safety and security of a jail rather than releasing them in the community, put the community at greater risk of crime and assaults.
So sexual predators and gangbangers with murder convictions, they're doing it wrong. Really?
They had Dr. Phil, which lends a circus atmosphere to this entire thing. It's just not the right approach to a very serious matter, and that is apprehending dangerous criminals who are not U.S. citizens.
What?
They're on Sirius. Tom Homan and his team is on Sirius,
because
says
Dr. Phil with
Daily Toady, Mope, Jamoke, Mook, Brian Hopkins.
Well, then what would be the right way? What was it,
The whole point is that's not about the right way. The point is you're embarrassing us. Oh, it's a circus atmosphere when Tom Homan comes to town and brings a celebrity to document it because that raises the profile on what they're doing and maybe gets the attention of some people who are otherwise dead from the neck up, which is, a significant percentage of the population in Chicago.
Who watch daytime TV.
The circus atmosphere. The circus atmosphere is not the endemic violent crime. The circus atmosphere is not the stand-down orders for law enforcement in the city of Chicago. The circus atmosphere isn't the non-prosecution and decarceration culture in Chicago. Dr. Phil coming along with Tom Homan while they're doing the work that is opposed by the political power structure in Chicago, that's the circus. Okay. And then for good measure, and by the way, this is Craig Wall's report from ABC7, who's doing a nice job impersonating state mouthpieces for the political power structure from a bygone era. I mean, where is anybody to offer the countervailing point in Craig Wall's report? There isn't one. And I know there's, no opposition party, but I'm sure you could come upon some people that are appreciative of Tom Homan and his people being there doing what the local politicians won't do. I'm sure you could find all those people that Tom Homan mentioned applauding. I'm sure if you talk to Tom Homan, he'd provide somebody, maybe a family member who has lost someone, or like the Abraham family that we talked about yesterday because of the open borders, sanctuary policies of this administration, political power structure in the state. Maybe you could find somebody. Instead, to pile on to dope, mope, jamoke, nitwit Brian Hopkins is Graciela Guzman, given the whole everybody's afraid. They're afraid because they're here illegally. Well, they should be.
They are scared to go to work, scared to go to school, scared to leave the home, to be able to go to things like clinic visits, go to their food pantry, go to the store, right? They're second guessing all of these decisions.
Everyone's walking around Chicago looking over their shoulders. I mean, please, this is nonstop, Dan. They're shoving this down our throats. In Elgin, 2 kids have been staying home since Trump, took office for fear their parents are going to get deported.
They're scared to go out and get their taxpayer-funded benefits. Boy, what a sad story. For more on this, please be joined by Mark Glennon, wirepoints.org, founder and executive editor. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
And thanks for having me.
So, we're seeing some of the same attitude. It's a little bit more muted in the suburbs, but you're seeing it, as we talked about earlier in the program, and have on a number of occasions. School superintendents offering these directives to staff about essentially running interference if ICE would just show up to the school, or if ICE picks up a parent of somebody, of a student at the school, who, the entirety of the family being here illegally and so forth. That's where things are at.
Yeah, this is just utterly infuriating, stupefying, and thank you for going through that list of the bad guys that Holman ticked off. The regular press hasn't talked about that list. Go through it and see their stories about this. They don't publicize that. You got to go to alternative sources or here to hear that list of the kinds of people that Holman has been arresting. And I would emphasize one too. It's not in Chicago. Those two young ladies that died in Urbana. Right. The segment you just ran on Jeannie Ive saying the sanctuary crowd has blood on their hands because of those deaths. That is absolutely right. They got blood on their hands. And, there's a little comparison here that's kind of interesting. You might remember 20 years ago, George Ryan's career basically ended because he was alleged to have improperly licensed people while he had been Secretary of State. One of the people improperly licensed got into a fiery crash, killed some people. That ended his career. Well, now we got this guy here who is an illegal alien, not supposed to be here, driving drunk, crashes into the rear end of those, kills two young students at the University of Illinois. They have blood on their hands, the people who are protecting these folks, and it's beyond words.
And let me tell you something too. They're afraid. Brian Hopkins, that Jamoke is afraid. The Jelly Belly is afraid. BLM Brandon, they're afraid. All these, they think they're pretending like they're presenting this unified front, and we're standing up to Trump, and they think they're going to get away with just standing up to Trump. But as these reports come in with the people that are being removed from the streets of Chicago, and they're standing in the way, and all they have is this rap they've been running for decades, and the attention of the larger public wasn't on this like it is now. They're not going to get away with this as long as Tom Homan and his people continue to do the work they did this weekend.
I hope they don't get away with it politically. You're better able to say than I am, but they think the public is still behind this radical leftist stuff on immigration. God, I hope not in Illinois. The rest of the country isn't. And let's hope that the pendulum is really swinging hard against them, but they apparently don't see it that way.
But don't you think like this of any story would wake people up? I mean, a reporter has got to say to Governor Pritzker, do you want to apologize to Katie Abrams' family for what you did, for what you allowed? Your policies allowed this. This could have been a preventable crime. And I mean, the guy, after hitting them, he gets off and takes off and starts running and is found in Texas.
Yeah, if the story is getting out to them, is it? That's the hard part, because again, our press, the regular press, a lot of people all the time, they turn on, the evening news for a few minutes. Maybe they glance at the Tribune. They're not going to see a lot of these stories. Right. It's just outrageous.
Talking about Illinois' finances a bit. I mean, and by the way, continuing to the need, and the good thing Wire Points exists, to document the resources being diverted to people in this country illegally because of our sanctuary policies. I mean, I know when we've talked to Ted about this, just on the Medicaid coverage alone, with the number of people in Illinois who are in this country illegally, you're talking in the hundreds of millions, if not billions, annually. And so that continues to be documented as Jelly Belly runs around and talks about Illinois being this dynamic state that's growing and balanced budgets and all this. And so that's not happening. The cost of these policies is growing, and the burden on Illinois families is growing, and businesses is growing too. Just reminding people where we stand in terms of corporate tax rates, where we stand in terms of total tax burden when you layer in the state income tax, personal income tax, as well as property taxes. I mean, what you're paying out versus what you're getting, there's something else that needs some constant reminding.
Yeah, and Ted, I'll jump the gun a little bit on a story Ted's going to be publishing with those numbers on Medicaid especially. We now have almost a quarter of Illinois on Medicaid, $2.9 billion out of our budget. $2.9 billion out of our budget goes to Medicaid. It's absolutely exploded during COVID, but we haven't cut back the number back to pre-COVID numbers. You know, why? What's the excuse for that? And for the Medicaid we pay for the immigrants, there's no federal match on that, so that comes entirely out of the pockets of Illinoisans. And try to get to the bottom of this stuff. It's pretty hard because we haven't gotten the audited financials in 565 days, which, the average for the other states is only 200 days. A lot of other states are a year ahead of us. They've already done their 2024 audited financial statements. We don't have ours from 2023. So we're going into budget season here blind now without real numbers.
A 9.5% corporate rate, which is the third highest in the country. It's the highest in the Midwest by a wide margin. And then you layer in the personal income tax at 3.95. You layer in the highest property taxes in the nation. I know there's an argument that can be made between us and New Jersey, but not much of one that matters. I mean, Illinois pays, if not the highest combined state and local tax burden, then definitely top 5 in the country. And what are you getting? This is the, question that we need to continue to pose so that perhaps enough people will at some point reflect upon it.
Yeah, what are you getting? I mean, you're not getting equity, by the way. Maybe some of this would be worthwhile if we were really pulling people up at the bottom, but we're not. Every report there is on the left and the right that measures equity in different ways shows that Illinois is at or near the bottom of other states.
Mark Lennon, founder and executive editor of WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Tour Edge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
I Identity Theft Awareness Week is here. There's a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second and will fix identity theft guaranteed or your money back. Plus, plans include the $1 million protection package with up to $3 million in coverage for the most comprehensive plan. Take control of your identity with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year with my name Clay as the promo code at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, we honor traditions, celebrate faith, and cherish memories. Take an active role in establishing your legacy for future generations by pre-planning your final arrangements today. Alleviate your loved ones of future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of interest-free financing and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get Amy's fashion review of Melania Trump's formal White House portrait at 8:08.
Well, I can't wait for that. And later, well, we were up against the clock today. We're going to have partly sunny skies. Windy, a high of 44 degrees. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
She calls him a dirtbag. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. New Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted video on X of an illegal immigrant who faces kidnapping and assault charges, rounded up in a New York City immigration raid as federal agents go after immigrants considered criminal and safety threats nationwide. Nearly 1,200 arrests just yesterday.
We've had many targets here that have really kind of egregious convictions for sexual assault, for murder, for aggravated battery, drug possession. We've arrested gang members so far.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office Director Sam Olson in Chicago, where Democrats keep vowing to resist the Trump mass deportation operation, prompting this.
As part of the Republican-led House Oversight Committee's immigration investigation, Committee Chair James Comer wants the Democratic mayors of New York City, Boston, Chicago, and Denver to testify. All four of those so-called sanctuary cities have ordinances, codes, or laws on the books that protect people who live in those cities from deportation.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. President Trump, the commander-in-chief, wants changes in the military with 3 executive orders. Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House details them.
Develops an American Iron Dome missile defense system like what they have in Israel. Formulate a new policy on transgender troops. That is up to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, to figure out how that's going to work. And then ban DEI initiatives in the military.
Another order will restore the rank of thousands of military service members kicked out for refusing to get a COVID vaccine, and it gives them full back pay and benefits. Here's something else new that'll take effect later today.
A memo sent by the Office of Management and Budget Monday night is ordering executive departments to pause federal grants and loans until those programs are reviewed by the administration. A copy of the memo was reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, but it's causing confusion as to how broad that order goes.
As Fox's Jared Halpern, we do know that this order does not affect Medicare and Social Security benefits. America's listening to Fox News.
28 degrees, mostly clear skies and sunshine at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress during a hearing about sanctuary cities. Johnson and other mayors will testify at a House Oversight and Government Reform Committee hearing on February 11. 3 women were found shot in an alley on the city's south side early this morning. The women were found about 4:50 a.m. near 78th and Crandon Avenue in the city's South Shore neighborhood. Chicago police say both of those women died at the scene. In other news this morning, an Indiana man recently pardoned by President Trump is dead after a deputy-involved shooting in northwest Indiana.
42-year-old Matthew Huddle of Hobart was recently pardoned for his role in the January 6th Capitol rioting. Police pulled him over and attempted to arrest him Sunday afternoon. The deputy then shot and killed Huddle during that altercation. Closing arguments could finally come to an end today in Mike Madigan's corruption trial. During arguments yesterday, an attorney for the former Illinois House Speaker painted former Chicago alderman turned government mole Danny Solis as a villain, calling him a stage actor. Bulls beat the Nuggets 129-121. Blackhawks take on Tampa Bay tonight. The News is a service of Turnkey.pro. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
General Motors shares are up 1%. Its quarter top forecasts helped by strong sales in the U.S. GM actually reported a loss for the quarter, including its restructuring of business in China. Royal Caribbean's earnings are upbeat and says demand is picking up. The last 5 weeks were the best for bookings in the company's history. Kimberly-Clark, which makes Kleenex and Huggies, also is reporting a better quarter than Wall Street was predicting. CVS launched a new app today aimed at making pharmacy lines shorter, delivering more transparency on drug costs and cutting the stress out of a pharmacy visit. Whole Foods workers at the Spring Garden Street location in Philadelphia have voted to join a union, the United Food and Commercial Workers International. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Time's running out. Citigroup predicts gold hitting $3,000 by 2025. Every day you wait could cost you. Noble Gold Investments is your path to the future, your guide to what's coming. Don't wait for $3,000 gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and get 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins with a qualified account. Just use promo code SILVER. Get ready for tomorrow's gains today. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risk. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making any investment decision.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. While on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In that instant, his life changed forever. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with other catastrophic injuries. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit FVGradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-208-0414. 800-208-0414. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-208-0414, 800-208-0414, and give us your answer. The preceding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
808 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Turnkey.pro. Start the new year right with Turnkey's all-in package. Unlimited help desk support, firewall, router, unlimited backup and recovery, antivirus protection, plus new hardware, one low monthly investment. Turnkey.pro. That's Turnkey.pro. Kennedy inbound, 1 hour and 6 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound Kennedy, a center lane block with a disabled vehicle. That's outbound at Armitage. Delays on DuSable Lakeshore Drive due to an accident southbound between Foster and Belmont. And delays this morning as you begin your trip on the south side, 78th westbound, blocked from Oglesby to Crandon. That's all part of that earlier fatal shooting investigation we told you about earlier in the newscast. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, increasingly windy. High today, 44. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight, low 33. Flurries tomorrow morning, and partly sunny with a high 43. Clouds on Thursday, the high at 49. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
28 at O'Hare, 21 in Aurora, 22 Morris, and 31 Lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I need some help. I mean, I don't really, but I'm going to pretend I do. I got this text from a friend of mine who is a beneficiary of the 1986 Immigration Reform Act that Reagan signed. Here's her text after listening to me, rant about Brian Hopkins and so forth.
Okay.
INS came into our home in the early morning when I was around 9 or 10 and separated me from my parents and deported them. They are not criminals of any sort, only hardworking blue-collar Americans, or only hardworking blue-collar workers who wanted a better life for their family in America. An uncle was deported on his way home from work while waiting for the bus. We lived in fear every day for many years. Some family members never got to see their family for decades. We never took any government subsidies. You, meaning me, are in such a great position to help soothe the hateful rhetoric. For every one bad story, there are hundreds of great ones of hardworking people who just have a dream to do more for their families. What should I say in response to my friend, who, by the way, is a great person? I know her family, great people. They are hardworking, assets to the country, and so on and so forth. So I stipulate to all that. That's not in question. What should I say to her? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, because I'm so tired of being on this hamster wheel, as I know many of you are, that we have been on for literally decades, probably about since the 1986 Immigration Reform Act. We've probably been on the same hamster wheel, having the same conversations, you hearing the same arguments for the better part of the last 4 decades. And this is why there is such exasperation. It's certainly not hateful coming from me, and I don't think it's hateful coming from the people who want the law enforced. What's exasperating about it is we know what makes sense. We know what fairness looks like, and we simply cannot get to it. And we cannot get to it because so many of the politicians at the federal and state and local level in particular are so disingenuous. They're so dishonest on the topic that you can't get anywhere. And that includes some big government Republicans, but it is mainly the open borders crowd on the left that wants you to pretend they're not for open borders.
But Alderman Hopkins, I mean, he is talking out of both sides of his mouth, because we have had him on this show where he was sick of the crime in the open drug market in front of the Chicago Inn and kids, running in the street way past curfew and all that. I mean, and then he comes out yesterday and says that what he said, that they're doing it wrong, and how dare Dr. Phil be with him. And that is none of his business. I just don't understand how, I shouldn't be surprised, Dan, that a politician talks out of both sides of his mouth, but he was all about law and order. Now he's all about keeping ICE away.
They're always talking out of both sides of their mouth. I mean,
sick.
The whole hard work. Look, I've been saying this for so long. Well, actually, let's go back to this.
Okay.
Chuck Schumer. We played this on the show before, but 2009, Chuck Schumer giving a big policy speech at Georgetown University School of Law on immigration and what the predicates were for a deal on immigration policy. 2009.
Illegal immigration is wrong, and a primary goal of comprehensive immigration reform must be to dramatically curtail future illegal immigration. Second, operational control of our borders through significant additional increases in infrastructure, technology, and border personnel must be achieved within a year of enactment. Third, a biometric-based employer verification system with tough enforcement and auditing is necessary to significantly diminish the job magnet that attracts illegal aliens to the United States and to provide certainty and simplicity for employers. 4, all illegal aliens present in the United States on the date of enactment of our bill must quickly register their presence with the United States government and submit to a rigorous process of converting to legal status and earning a path to citizenship or face imminent deportation.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the whole deal there was pathway to citizenship for the millions of people that were here illegally back in 2009. That is a fraction of what it is today, of course. But even he, at the point, recognized there had to be enforcement provisions, a biometric e-verify system. That's Chuck Schumer talking about that 15 years ago, 16 years ago now. So the point is that I'm willing to deal on this. I've said before. Trump is willing to deal on this. He proposed a deal for pathway for dreamers in his first term in exchange for border wall construction. And what did he get? Just the same thing that we get when we talk about dealing. You're a xenophobe, you're this, you're that, you're a racist, blah, 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 blah. The hateful rhetoric, so on and so forth.
When Barack Obama was in charge in 2009, when he had the White House and the House and the Senate, they still couldn't pass the DREAM Act. And they were in charge. I mean, it's the same old rigmarole bull jive over and over, year after year.
You don't like entering this country illegally, being illegal? As Tom Homan has said, well, you know what? Go to Congress and change the law. When you had the president and you had Congress, you could have done what AOC and the Socialist Spice Girls and the base of your party wanted. You could have decriminalized illegal border crossings. No longer illegal. You could have a defunded ICE, which was the position of AOC and the Democrat Socialist base of that party up until it came around election time and things were getting a little dicey, and we need to mute this whole defund police, defund ICE business because open borders was a tough sell politically, you think?
Well, when they were in charge, they could have taken down the border wall.
So that you could have done all these things, but you don't want to do them because you're not operating in good faith. So you just want to demagogue people that say, this is the law, it should be enforced. If you want to change the law, go change the law through the legal processes to change the law.
Okay,
if you want to deal if you want to deal like the reality of the situation, then it begins by being honest about what Tom Homan is doing right now. It begins by calling out and removing. This would be part of my deal. This electorate that's running around with a rap about I'm being scared and I'm this and that, and these are otherwise hardworking people in this country legally, and so fine. You be part of the constituency that removes Brandon Johnson, that removes J.B. Pritzker, that removes this power structure from office, then we'll deal. We'll deal. I'm fine. I recognize the need, as I've articulated many times, for legal immigration. I recognize that it's a fraction of the people in this country illegally that are predators. But guess what? A fraction of a big number is a big fracking problem. And if you want to moralize to me about this, don't do it to me. Fortunately, I haven't been victimized. Go moralize to Katie Abraham's family. Go moralize to Brian McCann's family. Go moralize to Jeannie Brady's family down in Mahomet. All the cases that we profile here in this sanctuary state and sanctuary city of people who have been killed, people who have been victimized, preventable crime. Mm-hmm. So you want to get rid of the lawless political power structure in this state and in this country, then let's talk. You want to provide, gradations here in terms of who is going to get which treatment as we reestablish the actual rule of law when it comes to legal immigration in this country. And we do so in a way that is reflective of equal protection under and equal enforcement of the law on some go-forward basis because we've made such a mess of this, both parties, over the last 4 decades, fine. But you want to just tell me about all the hardworking people that are here illegally who are otherwise productive and fall in with this crowd, fall in with the Pritzkers and the Brandon Johnsons and the Brian Hopkins, then go pound it.
Well, you played Chuck Schumer 2009. Here's Barack Obama 2014. This is what Democrats are complaining about Trump doing right now.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
Except they haven't been. The only president who's actually taken those actions has been Donald Trump. That's the truth. The only president, they've all taken those actions to some extent, but I'm talking about the person who has centered the country's attention on this. And in part, it's because of the lawlessness that has been suborned by all of these previous presidents. The person who has centered the nation's attention on this so that we have to have the arguments again, yes, but we have to have the arguments in the context of policy is going to be made. Decisions are happening. Actions are being taken. John in Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah. Dan and Amy, don't forget, in 2014, in November, the Democrats and Obama got their clock clean in the midterm elections, flat out. And we the last time we won really big in DuPage County. Later that month, that's when Obama introduced the act that the Dreamers Act.
It's where Yelitsa Martina fights through her.
And it was disingenuous because they would have lost even bigger, of course, in 2014. And this is just confirmation bias, I'm sure. But I live in Palm Beach County now, Dan. There are less people on the streets today than there were a week ago. As I said, I'm sure that's confirmation bias, but I feel good about this. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, John. Well, I mean, you use people as mascots. That's what the left does to advance their race hustle, their gender hustle, their immigration hustle. They're just mascots. Oh, family separation and dreamers and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, they're actually flacking for cartels and traffickers and repeat violent offenders. It's only a few apartment buildings that Tren de Aragua took over in Aurora, Colorado. I mean, it really is what J.D. Vance said to Martha Raddatz upon that occasion. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear what you're flacking for? It'd be nice if some constituents said that to Graciela Guzman, said that to Brian Hopkins, said that to Jelly Belly, said that to each other in these Tony suburbs that have all these fashionable positions that become really unfashionable when your daughter is killed by somebody who shouldn't have been here. Jeff in St. Charles.
Yeah, good morning. I was just calling in. I was telling the screener that, I've been married to a Mexican woman for 35 years, love her to death, and I keep been telling my relatives for 35 years, this immigration, it's a carrot and a stick. The Democrats never want to give that carrot up. They always want it as a cudgel, to bring them in line for their voting block or whatever policy they want to push at the time. But now, I travel to Mexico several times a year. My wife's semi-retired down there now. They're frustrated because they have Haitians and other immigrants in there that haven't made it through that are causing crime, the cartel problem, about that. And, right now in my wife's town, there's cartel war going on where they're killing each other, no government support. So I just hope, we as a country can get it under control, then maybe support them a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jeff. Right, because the other thing they do is then they drive people into sort of zero tolerance policies for, not zero tolerance, but zero policies for immigration. Zero, cut it all off. Do a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year pause. I'm not for that. But there have been proposals like that, or certainly to reduce the caps and then and provide less opportunity and, perhaps negatively impact America in so doing as well. But this is the point you get to when you have people that do not deal in good faith. This was the point that J.D. Vance made with we have so much to get to Brennan over the weekend.
Well, this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country founded by...
country.
This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. Byron in the Western Burbs.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Dan, I have a question for you, and it's kind of a little bit different than how you're talking about this. One of the things that I found very interesting is the payments made by Mexican immigrants that live in the United States, as they call them, remittances to Mexico, ran around $56 billion in 2022. And it's an average remittance of about $390 a month per family. And okay, we're here, it's the DREAM Act, we want to be here. So why is all this money then going back if everybody needs so much help in the United States that's a Mexican immigrant? Why do they have to have billions and billions of dollars going back to Mexico? It's a huge amount of Mexicans' GDP. So let me know what you think.
Thanks for the call. Well, I mean, on remittances, we talked about that. I mean, DeSantis proposed taxing the remittances to make it less attractive to come here, work, send money back home. I mean, on one hand, remittances signal a desire to return home. I'm coming here to work to make money for my family, but I have an eye towards going back. And this is where, if we had serious people discussing this, we would talk about temporary worker programs like I've mentioned before. Many people have. This is not novel, and it's certainly not novel in our country's history to have temporary worker programs for people that want to come here and work, and they are filling a labor gap that some sectors have. They make money. They go back home, and they're better positioned to help their family. That's better for Mexico or other countries. It's not limited to Mexico. And it's better, and it's good for the United States. That's the sort of mutually beneficial arrangements we should be thinking about. But we can't think about that because we have one party that pretends that violent criminals and repeat predators are not violent criminals and repeat predators. They don't want to make any distinctions between the people here illegally who are otherwise productive and the people here illegally who are members of Tren de Aragua. So how do you talk to somebody like that? Deborah in Arlington Heights, getting back to the original question of what I should tell my friend.
Oh,
Deborah?
Yeah. Well, good morning. I'll preface this by my mom came here through the proper legal channels, and it took her a long time to do so, but she did. And I think the problem is, mixed messaging. I'm going to use the analogy of a school classroom. Let's say you have a classroom full of kids, and you have rules on how to behave and act. And some kids don't adhere to those rules. And then the teacher says, oh, well, doesn't hold the boundary. And, then you've got the kids that are creating problems, but the kids that are behaving, then you've got kids that are being really bad. And those kids still remain in the classroom. And now you have no boundaries and you have chaos. And you can't have a classroom full of kids learn that way. That's the same thing with this country. We send mixed messages that, this is okay. Well, no, it isn't. Well, you're not holding to those boundaries, and so you've got chaos, which is what we've got.
Right.
Illegal versus legal. There's, that's just the way it is. And if you come through the proper legal channels, wonderful. And maybe we have to expand that. But if you're coming here illegally, you already broke the law, and then the people that are criminals, anybody that doesn't want to get rid of criminals, I'm sorry, but you lose me completely. I do not understand that.
Thanks for the call, Deborah. I mean, that's the point. The ultimate point is if the law is arbitrary, you don't have the law. You don't have the rule of law. And this is what the lawless left prescribes for everything. If it is going to be arbitrarily enforced, you do not have the law. If the law is going to be arbitrarily enforced, you don't have the rule of law. You have the rule of men. And the rule of men is not a free society. It's not a particularly safe one either. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's a new year, but the need continues. Hi, Amy Jacobson here to let you know that you could still be part of our annual Food for the Poor campaign. We are working to provide food for a year and access to water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we need you to help us reach our goal. We are so close, especially if you own or run a business or make the marketing decisions for a business. You can still become a business benefactor by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. That gift will feed 50 children for all of 2025. And to show our appreciation for your generosity, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on the station between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this amazing deal, just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, 847-472-8951 or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Guys, it's a new year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. TikTok. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test. And with their on-site lab, you can get your results back right there. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic standard treatments. For current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Jennifer Aniston, by the way, speaks out about those alleged rumors with her and Barack.
Did Ross say anything when he was in town to reopen the Looking Glass?
I don't know if you want to hear it. We could get to it, but it's up to you, boss.
I still think that Barack is more of a Ross than a Rachel man. But we'll discuss at 8:38.
And Jim Acosta's out. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
It's 8:32, 28 degrees and sunshine, and a federal aid freeze is being ordered by President Trump. A White House internal memo says the temporary pause goes into effect at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and allows for agency programs to be reviewed, but not Social Security or Medicare. Officials who worked on criminal investigations into President Trump are being fired. A letter from Acting Attorney General James McHenry says they cannot be trusted to faithfully execute the Trump agenda. New Jersey Republican Representative Jeff Van Drew.
What did the Justice Department expect? They were weaponized. They were specifically, dealing out justice for thee, but not for me.
ICE officers continue cracking down on illegal migrants who are dangers to their community nationwide. ICE Chicago Field Office Director Sam Olson says it's been an arduous process, but they're going after the most dangerous individuals.
We're not targeting people in schools. We're not targeting people in churches. We're targeting people who are the worst. There's a chance they're going to go to some of those places, and this administration has kind of taken some of the handcuffs off of us in a way, right? We're leaving the discretion with our officers, and our officers are trained to make good decisions out there.
Google Maps will soon switch the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Company says it's just waiting on information to be updated in the U.S. Geographic Names System. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is being called to testify before Congress, all during a hearing about sanctuary cities coming up in February. Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting near a supermarket in northwest Indiana in the town of Elkhart.
2 individuals were pronounced deceased inside. We have a suspect that was believed to be the suspect in this incident. He is also deceased.
Elkhart Police spokesperson Jessima McBriar says the homicide unit will handle that investigation. A woman is accused of trying to smuggle drugs in her wheelchair at O'Hare. Federal authorities say agents stopped Elaine Perez Pena Saturday after she got off a plane. But this isn't her first time trying to smuggle. She previously has pled guilty to smuggling about 3 kilos of cocaine in her suitcase back in 2021. The level of available workspace in downtown Chicago now at a record high after the year ended with the market posting its second worst in history. Real estate firm CBRE reporting the share of available office space in downtown Chicago rose to just over 26%. And a Republican state senator is looking to require voter ID in Illinois. Republican State Senator Chapin Rose said requiring voter ID is popular in most of the state.
This signature check thing is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, in this day and age, when everybody's got a driver's license, some kind of ID, why are we relying on a signature check?
Rose's bill goes beyond that. He wants to eliminate ballot drop boxes and makes ballot harvesting a felony. As for how he thinks the measure will be handled by Democrats in Springfield,
I understand the state I'm in, but I also realize that there's the federal government at play, which last time I checked is Republican-controlled and now has a Republican president.
The Illinois legislature returns to the Capitol today. Bulls beat the Nuggets 129-121. By the way, the NBA slam dunk field is set, and it will include Bulls rookie forward and Hinsdale native Mattis Buzelis. The news, a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Use that coupon code Chicago to save 35%. Hurry, offer ends soon. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world, one life at a time.
I'm 80 years old. I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
I'm excited about it. You know, these cutting edge things that are new in medicine now, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics. It works.
Henry Hinton decided to check out QC Kinetics regenerative treatments for his aching knees after seeing a close friend have amazing results without going under the knife.
I have a friend that started this, which is one of the reasons that I decided to do it. He could not play golf anymore, and he went to QC Kinetics and started having the treatments, and he's back golfing like 3 days a week. He couldn't play at all.
QC Kinetics gets you back to doing what you love, using your own natural biologics to help heal and restore damaged joints. Long-term relief that puts a guy back on the golf course.
You know, I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference. QC Kinetics works. I'm excited about it.
You're next. Start with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago since 1985 and a longtime customer of Signature Bank. When our business moved to our current Loop location, I recall seeing Mick O'Rourke and his two business partners, Brian Duncan and Kevin Vestuga, laying the foundation for Signature Bank. When Signature opened its doors in 2006, I was proud to move our accounts there and become a shareholder. Being in the consulting business, the Martech Group has a keen understanding of the value of relationships, trust, and attentiveness. Whether dealing with our U.S. practice or our international operations, Signature Bank is always there when we need them. That's why the Martech Group is proud to have Signature Bank as a valued business partner.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
8:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of ExpressPros.com, helping you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about recruiting, sifting through resumes. Just go to ExpressPros.com, find the location near you. That's ExpressPros.com. The Kennedy at 70 minutes, O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange, while the Ike is at an hour 20, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, 1 hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive has an accident southbound near Belmont and delays on the Jane Addams. You're slow eastbound between Meacham and Route 53 on I-90. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, increasingly windy, and a high of 44. Currently, 28 degrees. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. All right, so what happened? Did Jennifer Aniston extinguish or inflame the rumors about her and one Barack Obama?
Well, I'll let you decide for herself. She was on with, I don't want to say his name, Jimmy Kimmel, and addressed the rumors head on.
For instance, like this is a magazine that came out a couple of weeks ago and said the truth about Jen and Barack.
Is this a show or a sleepover?
That's that was, wait. Of all the calls you get from your publicist where you're just like, oh no, what's it going to be? Or the email saying, you know, some cheesy tabloid is going to make up a story, and then it's that.
Yeah. Does your
I was not
publicist
mad
ever
at
go
it.
like, is there any truth to this? Or is it...
No, that is absolutely untrue.
Well, I know it's not true.
Yeah.
I just don't know if everybody knows.
Well, it is untrue.
Some people, it is untrue. So the truth about Jen and Barack is that there is no truth.
There is
it
no
is
truth.
untrue. You know Barack Obama.
I've met him once.
Met him once.
I know Michelle more than him.
What about
is
her,
there
Michelle?
a truth about you and Michelle? That we should know.
That is not true.
So,
boy, color me stunned. Did anybody ask David Schwimmer the same question when he came to reopen the Looking Glass the other night?
No, nobody asked him that question.
Huh.
I didn't even know that was him. I was watching him. I'm like, oh, who is? But I hated Friends, and I didn't like him or his character.
I'm shocked that you didn't like Friends.
Why? Oh, I
actually.
couldn't stand. I thought it was so stupid. I don't know. I hated Friends.
I mean, Friends was like the NBC5 newsroom when you were there.
I know. Well, I was always working nights too, so I never even got to watch any of that stuff that was on TV, and I don't know. When I did glance over, I thought, oh God, I just didn't find any of their characters likable, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
There's a ditzy blonde, and then there's, Rachel. And whatever.
I felt the same way about the NBC5 newsroom. So yeah, I got it. So we're still in confusion, a state of confusion about the relationship between Barack and Michelle, whether they're going to get big deed or we don't know that.
No, they put out on social media them having dinner last Saturday. Like, everything's fine, but she had no makeup on. She looked awful. I want my Michelle Obama to look better than that. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
You got to represent.
All right. Speaking of first ladies, in this instance, one that is, camera friendly, Melania. Have you seen the official portrait that they released with Melania in that black and white with the leaning on that table like she was a boss lady?
Because she is a boss lady. I mean, I love it. Everything she does is filled with grace, and everything has a purpose. Nothing's accidental with it, when it comes to fashion with her.
It's interesting with some of the renewed attention on Melania, particularly after that gangster outfit she wore to the inaugural.
Don't mess with her.
That was tight. This interview that she gave, I think she was 29 at the time, back in 1999, to ABC News, one of, the fungible ABC News people from the over the years. Don Dollar, who's that? Who cares? Anyway, 1999 interview, and the interview was about her being first lady.
What? No way.
It's remarkable how, we've sort of, I guess, memory banked some of this stuff. It's like Oprah talking to Trump about running for president in the late 80s. Well, Melania, when she started dating Trump, and were there Trump rumors about running for president in 2000? Maybe there were. I just don't recall. But anyway, the prospect of Melania being a first lady and what kind of first lady she would be. And, oh, by the way, are you just dating the old man for the money?
You picture yourself the first lady?
Yes, I will be very traditional, like Jackie Kennedy. I will support him. I will do a lot of social obligations.
If you did become first lady, it probably wouldn't be ethical for you to give commercial endorsements to products. So your modeling career might be over at that moment. What would you think about that?
I will stand by men.
You'd be willing to give up your modeling career?
Yes.
Have you been hurt by the comments that you're with him because he's rich?
The people, they don't know me. People who talk like this, they don't know me.
Well, you don't see many 26-year-old supermodels on the arm of 53-year-old car mechanics.
You know what? You can't sleep or to hug or to talk with beautiful things, with beautiful apartment, beautiful plane, beautiful cars, beautiful houses. You can't do that. You could feel very empty. And if somebody said, you're with a man because it's rich and famous, they don't know me.
What do you think about that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Unlike Hillary, I'm not going to stand by my man like Tammy Wynette. Remember that statement she made running for president? Or when they were running for president? Melania, half a decade later, said quite the opposite. Stand by my man, give up my modeling career. This is why Dan Proft is single, because Melania's taken.
I know. And she, that reporter being so stupid, you want to give up your modeling career if you become first lady? She's the most photographed woman in the world now. This is better than any modeling gig she could ever get in her life. Think about it.
Yeah, I suppose.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on that very same line.
Is that really true, that what Melania said when she was accused of dating Trump for his money, that you can have fancy houses and cars and planes but still feel very empty inside? And so anybody who thinks that she dates Trump for the money and profile doesn't know her. Do you buy that?
I buy that. I mean, did you ever see them together on Larry King Live when they sat down with him and did an interview, and they were going to get married, and one part of the condition of their marriage was she wanted a child, and he said, okay, fine, one child. But they seemed so in love, and they were holding hands, and they were like flirting with each other. It just seemed like a real marriage to me. Now, has things changed over time? I'm sure things have changed, and accusations have occurred. But I still think that she genuinely loves him, and she'll support him. And I think she did a great job as First Lady last time, and she'll do the same this time. I mean, also, she was out there genuinely hugging people in North Carolina. Jill Biden and Joe Biden could have never done that because they don't really care about those people. Those people they're garbage to them. They don't care if they're suffering, if they lost their home, yada, yada, yada. But she was actually listening to them and holding this lady in her arms, and I thought, that is great. I mean, they have all the money in the world, yes, but they're still human beings, and they still care about other human beings.
Yeah, I think Melania is a bit standoffish, but I think she's generally warm, too. She reminds me a lot of myself in that way.
Well, she's European. She's very smart. She speaks 5 languages. And
no, you didn't take a shot there.
Oh,
that's interesting. I teed that up for you, and you just let it go. That's fine. Well, interesting. Okay, all right. You can't say I didn't give you the opportunity.
And you're single because she's taken, right?
Well, I mean, it's sort of like looking into a mirror in a sense. I'm the male version of her.
How many languages do you speak, Dan?
Just English, really. But I mean,
and the fashion statements that you make with your golf hats, which one are you wearing today? Because I can't read the inside.
Right. Well, I mean, she always dresses to the nines, like like Jackie O, like a sophisticated cosmopolitan woman, and I dress like a caddy master. So we each have our look. It's okay. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Balance of Nature really saved me this past weekend when I was on my feet for hours and I didn't have time to go eat. I brought my fruits and veggie capsules with me and took them throughout the day, and wow, that worked wonders and tied me over until I needed to, or I could be free to have a meal. And I'm like thousands of AM 560 listeners who love their Balance of Nature. Why? Well, I'm not getting enough fruits and veggies on my own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day provides your body, heart, and mind with several servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. I'm actually taking mine right now. I open up those individual capsules and dust them into warm water, and voila, it is the best. Start off your day right. Start off your day with Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements. Here's the number to call, 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first set and free shipping when you sign up as a new preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35%.
So, how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
All across the country, states are embracing school choice and offering vouchers to families to send students to whichever school they want, including private Christian schools. Illinois, however, has resisted this trend, despite all the benefits of private education. Well, we have a solution. ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact the school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. The program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child to a private school and thought it was financially out of reach, go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com to learn more and to start the process today. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
Guys, Dan Proft here. It's a new year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. If you're lacking energy, muscle mass, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. But we all have different T levels, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT plan. Look for a personalized treatment plan like you'll get at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions, where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Tour Edge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, quickly before we get out of here, we always talk about female politicians who get pulled over and say, I'm having PTSD, or don't you know who I am? Well, finally, we have a male politician, this one out of New Jersey. He's a New Jersey councilman. His name's Theodore Holloway, and he didn't like that he got stopped.
Oh, man, what's going on? Why are you acting this way?
You can't be serious. And what did you pull me for?
Why are you acting that? Why are you acting that like
I want to
this?
know, what exactly are you getting behind me
Stop
for?
sign. You didn't stop at a stop sign.
I did stop, as much as I can stop.
You didn't stop at all. You rolled through that joint.
Are you serious, cuz?
I am serious.
Do whatever you got to do. What do you need?
I got you. Just let me see your license, man.
God, Jesus. What do you need? Don't think I ain't going to talk to Gary about this.
Gary?
I gotta do anything.
It's got a lot to do with it. Bro, I'm going home. You know me.
I got you.
You act like I'm running around here with my gun toting, weed smoking. So I'm the one that hires you. I'm bringing you on. Are you crazy? Yes. Absolutely. On your camera. I put you on. Come on, man.
You got the registration insurance on you, man?
Jesus Christmas. Oh, made my whole
He's got a mouth on him, huh?
Why are you acting like this, man? It's on your car.
I'm trying to go home, bro.
I got you. I understand
I live right there, bro. Like you actually pulled over an elected official. Bro, you're not pulling over a random. You're pulling over your boss. I am literally your boss. Like.
So Councilman Theodore Holloway then calls his boss, the police chief, and they still got him. Did he get a citation? They're approaching the car again.
He rolls through it. I turned my lights on. He was freaking out. Why you pull me over? He started yelling at me out the window. Yeah. Pull him over right here. I said, come pull over. He gets out. Obviously, he's not happy. He's upset. I'm an elected official. I hired you.
He's talking to another officer saying, what should I do? And basically, they ended up just giving him a citation for an expired plate, but not for running a red light, which they should have. Another elected official thinking they're above the law. All right, thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to George Hoffman, who's in for Justin today, and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Investigating a murder on Chicago's South Side. Madigan attorneys and McLean attorneys finishing closing arguments in their corruption trial at the Dirksen Federal Building today. Republican State Senator Dan McConaughey is resigning, and the Bulls beat the Nuggets. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
She's in charge, and she's taking part. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The new head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, is in the immigration raids going on nationwide, targeting immigrants who are illegally considered criminal or security threats.
She is along for a ride-along with DHS and ICE officers in New York City today. She posted this video of them rounding up illegal immigrants on their target list before dawn in New York City. She also posted a photo wearing a DHS flak jacket, briefing the ICE agents.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. Yesterday's raids led to nearly 1,200 arrests, another 800-plus ordered detained. President Trump ordering the U.S. to build an Iron Dome missile defense system like they have in Israel. Another order would review transgender troops in the military, which could lead to a ban.
Another order would eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion offices at the Department of Defense.
We will stop our service members from being indoctrinated with radical left ideologies such as critical race theory. We're going to stop it.
The moves are likely to face pushback from Democrats who argue trans individuals should be allowed to serve their country.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Reuters is now reporting that trans rights advocates are preparing a lawsuit against that Trump order. And this could end up in court, too. The Justice Department firing more than 12 people who were part of Special Counsel Jack